About our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Have you ever tried to buy gold and silver and felt like you were talking to a used car salesman? That's because the precious metals industry is like the Wild West. Salesmen can say pretty much anything or make any promise they want without repercussion. But Genesis Gold Group is different. They're a faith-driven Christian precious metals company and believe in educating their customers, not pressuring them for a quick sale. Genesis Gold Group focuses on customer service, not sleazy marketing. Genesis Gold Group is named after the first book of the Bible for a reason. Proper stewardship of wealth is their specialty. Find out why they've earned a 5 out of 5 rating through the Better Business Bureau and how they can help you secure your wealth or retirement through physical precious metals. Call right now to learn more.
800-497-8464. 800-497-8464. 800-497-8464. That's 800-497-8464.
It's the start of official grilling season, so get outside and fire up the grills with Heartland Steak Co. Known for its high-quality meat, unbeatable freshness, and a family-style commitment to care, that's the Heartland difference. And whether you're hosting a backyard barbecue, planning weeknight dinners, or giving someone a gift of Midwest flavor, Heartland Steak Co. is perfect for any occasion. At Heartland Steak Co., you're getting premium Midwestern meats, hand-cut, hand-picked, and delivered straight to your door. With their Midwestern steak package, it includes USDA choice filet mignons, ribeyes, New York strip, and top of Iowa sirloin steaks to their Midwest pork package, which is stuffed with Iowa and American cut pork chops, their famous ham balls, and more. Ordering is easy at heartlandsteakco.com. And right now, when you spend $175 or more, you'll get 2 free 4-count steak patties with promo code PATTIES. Go and get your 8 free steak patties from heartlandsteakco.com. That's heartlandsteakco.com, promo code PATTIES. Taste the Heartland difference.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
The voice of Sacramento sports is back.
Hear Grant Napear every weekday beginning at 3 right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento. Hello, Sacramento. Sacktown. And welcome in.
Grant Napear.
How you been? You know this guy.
It's your show.
So happy to hear you on the airwaves.
Time to begin. 2+ decades on the radio with you.
Just the start of an incredible journey.
Now he's back on Fox Sports 104.7 FM and 890 AM.
3 to 6 every day, Fox Sports Sacramento.
The phone number?
916-779-0929.
His name? Grant Napear.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the show. Hope you are doing well. Just a little reminder, tomorrow we will have sound from the Scott Perry, Doug Christie press conference, which is scheduled for 10 in the morning. Ryan will be out there tomorrow, and we'll have a lot of that on the show tomorrow, including Olden Polonies. Today, Jerry Reynolds is joining us at 4 o'clock. Followed by Sean Salisbury at 5. We take your phone calls at 916-779-0929. I got to tell you, the story surrounding Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini from The Athletic, formerly of The Athletic, doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know if you heard the news, but today, Rossini handed in her resignation to The Athletic. I want to read part of her statement because it makes no difference, which, by the way, was released on social media. In addition to everything else, moreover, this media frenzy is hurling forward without regard for the review process The Athletic is trying to complete. Can I just add something to that statement? The frenzy is hurling forward without regard to the review process the Athletic is trying to complete. What review process? You're not on trial. I mean, what's the review? You said you were with friends. Where are the pictures? Pretty simple, right? She then continues with this statement. It continues to escalate, fueled by repeated leaks, and I have no interest in submitting to a public inquiry that has already caused far more damage than I am willing to accept. Rather than allowing this to continue, I have decided to step aside now before my current contract expires on June 30th. I do so not because I accept the narrative that has been constructed around this episode, but because I refuse to lend it further oxygen or to let it define me or my career. Are you kidding me? I don't understand this. I don't get it. I do so not because I accept the narrative that has been constructed around this episode, but because I refuse to lend it further oxygen or to let it define me or my career. You think by resigning, this is going to go away? It's not going to go away. Not at all. By the way, she's been at the Athletic since 2023. She's been a Sports Center anchor, an NFL analyst, and insider. I mean, what are you doing here? Who is representing Diana Russini? If you didn't do anything wrong, you wouldn't resign. Okay? Now, I understand you can resign to let the heat get out of the kitchen and then come back. I that makes sense to me. I can see that. But like here's the part that bothers me with this whole story. You're the one that said you were at this resort in Arizona, which is a couples resort, which is very expensive, with your friends. Okay? Lady friends. Why would you be staying at a couples resort? And where are the photos? Like, you could have put this to bed in one day. You could have done it in 2 minutes. You could have released these apparent photos that, I mean, again, I don't know of any group of women that go on vacation and are good friends and are having this retreat, hiking trip, whatever you want to call it, and don't have pictures. Not one. So, like, this is so bizarre to me. It is so bizarre to me. And now you resign and you think that that is going to end the story. It's not going to end the story. I think it's going to fuel the story. And I actually think, and I don't know Diana Russini. I've never talked to her. She could walk into the studio right now, and in all frankness, I probably wouldn't recognize her. So I'm not going to make it sound like I'm an expert on her. But I always talk about common sense, right? Your career, your life has been changed forever because of the story that was last week in page 6 with photos of you and New England Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel. You both came out with statements, okay? Basically stating that the allegations about an improper meeting / relationship were laughable, false, and ridiculous. Okay? You're the one that came out and said who you were with and what you were doing. And yet you're unable to present any evidence to the fact. None. Zilch. Nothing. And now you resign. And you think that is just going to remove the heat? Like remove the narrative, remove the folks who have nothing better to do with their lives other than to interfere with other people's lives? No, it's not. This is bizarre to me. Very, very bizarre to me. I don't get it. 916-779-0929. What I do get is that Ryan and I were off by one day. On Friday, I asked Rhino, bold prediction of the day, when we come to work Monday at 3 o'clock, Diana Rossini will be with the Athletic, and we both said no. We missed by 24 hours. And I don't wish her any harm. I don't know her, okay? I don't. But what I do know is her story, whereas I wanted to believe it and said so last week, would have been very easy to back up with photos. Nobody at the resort, nobody, has any photos of Diana Rossini with her 5 or 6 friends that she was talking about. None. None. You know why? Because there are none. That's why. Because if there were photos of her and all of her friends, as she said, they would have been posted on social media just like this resignation. And if you want the noise to go away, why are you posting this on social media? This whole thing does not make sense. It does not make sense. So she is out as NFL reporter at The Athletic. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And I don't, it's none of my business with her marriage and everything else. But Ryan, don't you think this story's a little bizarre?
Yeah. And I think we need to separate this from the action and then the reaction, because this isn't about the action. This is a case where the cover-up is worse than the crime, especially because you're somebody that makes a living off of your word. Had she come forward and Mike Vrabel came forward and said, yep, caught us, we're at a resort, she would have taken some heat. That would have blown over. Probably still keeps her job, but it's the lie because...
Yeah, exactly. Can I say something? I just got a message on our chat line that, Grant, this is beneath you. Well, my job is to talk about the events in the sports world. And this is a big story. So whether it's beneath me or not, or whether you want to hear it or not, I respect the fact that you may not want to hear it. But it would be irresponsible for me to ignore what is one of the biggest stories in the National Football League today, with the draft coming up in 2 weeks. This is not just like a little story. This is a big story. So I'm sorry you feel that way, but the reality is it's my job to talk about it. I don't have to spend 3 hours on it. But if I'm going to come on my radio show and ignore a story that is affecting a lot of things in the NFL as a head coach, all right? And again, they're both married, by the way, which, listen, it's their lives. Do what the hell you want. I'm not sitting here. It's not my job to judge. That's not what I do. I don't judge someone's character or what have you. What I am saying is there is a thing called optics, okay? And the NFL draft is coming up at the end of this month. And there is a coach that is seen hugging and being close with an NFL reporter, which then brings in credibility from a extremely popular sports publication in The Athletic. This is a disaster for The Athletic. Let's just call it the way it is. And I mentioned this last week, and the reason why I'm talking about this, Ryan, this is a stain, and it's an unfortunate one, on women and their job of covering sports.
Spot
all right?
on.
That's the problem here. That's the issue here.
Spot on. It's throwing gasoline on the stereotype, right?
Correct. That's exactly right. So, if you think that I'm not going to talk about this, then you're mistaken. All right? And when you say the same person could not care less and it's a downer, well, you don't have to care. I'm not asking you to care. It's not my job to decide whether you care about what I'm talking about or not. But if you think I'm going to come on the radio and not talk about the biggest story of the day, then you're mistaken, all right? You're mistaken. Now, am I going to sit here for 3 hours and talk about Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel? No. But this is a very bizarre circumstance, in my opinion, that occurred today with the statement on social media. You think that's going to, and Ryan, did you just tell me, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to misquote you, that she didn't even accept messages?
Correct. Yes, she blocked comments to her statement. And the fact that you're saying there's all this fire, she doesn't want to give oxygen to this thing. Well, posting it on social media is going to give it oxygen. I don't know about you, Grant, but if I was going to send my resignation to you and Kurt, it probably wouldn't go to X at the same time. You know?
Wow.
You're trying to stir stuff up, and then you don't want the reaction. And to your point about The Athletic, the only stain for The Athletic, in my opinion, here is the editor putting their neck on the line.
Yes.
Initially for Diana.
Yes.
And then having to walk it back.
Well, I bet you they could wish they could go back in time a week, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. And this whole thing about this public inquiry, like you hit the nail on the head. This takes 2 seconds to resolve.
Yes.
Can we get on a Zoom call with at least 2 people that are at the resort? Can we see your hotel reservations? If you don't
even have to show the hotel reservations. If you're with friends, you've got photos. Where are the photos? It's very simple. Like, even if you have a photo away from the hotel property on your alleged hike, put the photo out. It's very simple.
Yeah. They probably need more with AI.
All right,
today.
well, then put the hotel reservations.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to get down to it, I'm sure The Athletic could hire a private firm to ask the hotel to, even if it's I'm sure there's a way to do this, to show the CCTV camera feed, right? I mean, I'm sure there's a way to do that. I don't know. I'm not in law. I don't know how that works. It's not a criminal act, so I don't really know, like, if they are obligated or would they show you the surveillance video of cameras everywhere now, that's everywhere in our world.
Only if they wanted to work with them under goodwill, but
which they might.
Other than that, no.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. So we'll move on from that. Don't you think this is a big story?
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, huge. Thank you. With the draft particularly coming up, and we're not talking about some rinky-dink operation here. We're talking about The Athletic.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, a pay-per-view subscription. Correct.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Unbelievable. Incredible. Again, I think this is the same person. This is National Enquirer worthy. It is below your normal show standards. I know you have to fill time, but nobody cares. We'd rather hear about the draft, not this. Well, then go turn the station. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, I think you're a very loyal listener, if I'm not mistaken, and I appreciate that. But then don't listen to me. If you think that I'm going to ignore the biggest story of the day, and by the way, it's not National Enquirer stuff. National Enquirer stuff is normally stuff that's not true. This is true. Okay, this is going on. This is a coach of a National Football League team and a female reporter, all right? And it then has a domino effect as it relates to, as we talk about, the perception of female reporters in the world of sports. A big publication like The Athletic, who came out and defended Rossini, and the fact that the NFL draft is in 2 weeks and everything else that comes along with it, like, your head is in the sand if you don't think this is a big story. And for you to think it's a National Enquirer story, you're not opening up your eyes to this. This is not a National Enquirer story.
Sorry, 224. I'm going to stay on the topic one more second. What's
Please
the
do.
other side of the coin for Mike Vrabel?
Okay. If you really want to get right down to it, and it's not my job to tell people how to live their life and how to not live their life.
Yeah.
It is probably not going very well at home for him.
No.
All right. I'm not going to interfere in their marital life, but it's a bad look. All right. There's just no other way to say it. And you know what? It's a bad look if it is indeed true. If there was a full-fledged affair going on, more so than what we saw with the photographs. Okay. And I don't know. It is a poor reflection on his judgment as a head football coach in the National Football League for the Patriots. All right. It's poor judgment. Agree or disagree?
No, I 100% agree with you, especially somebody that takes a female question to open every press conference if there's
Correct.
a female reporter there.
Yep.
I just wonder how many times, and this is what, because of this, we open up this Pandora's box of how much this happens without us knowing, whether it be a male or female reporter when it comes to getting information.
All right. Well, can we, to help out the loyal listener, can we move on?
Yes, we can.
By the way, I'm happy to take questions on this at 916-779-0929. So the A's come home after a beautiful road trip, 5 in a row, 2 against the Yankees. They sweep the Mets. And Luis Severino gives up a 3-run shot in the first, a solo shot 2 innings later to Carter. It is a disaster of a homestand start. When I say, like, the fans that were excited coming off a road trip, and you get shellacked 8-1. Game 2 of that 4-game set coming up this evening right here in Sacramento. Giants, Reds, as they move on from what has been a terrible start to the season. A lot of people talking about what happened in the Bronx last night. Aaron Judge and Mike Trout each going with 2 big home runs. I mean, they're 2 of the best power hitters in the game. I'm not shocked. It was a slugfest, bad pitching, and the Yankees come from behind, and they win that game. I think they scored 3 in the 9th, and they win it on a wild pitch of all things, right? On a wild pitch. Crazy, you know? Crazy. So, 916-779-0929. If you're a fan of the Sharks, really good season, something to build on, but they are out, eliminated from the playoffs. They won, but the LA Kings won. The teams ahead of them won, so they are out. There will be no playoffs this year for the Sharks. They get down to the end of the season with 2 games left. They were right in it. They have one of the most dynamic young players in hockey, maybe the most dynamic young player in Macklin Celebrini. Their future is bright. Good season, something to build on, but no playoffs this year. All right, we got a lot to talk about. Again, Scott Perry, Doug Christie, press conference tomorrow at 10. We'll have sound on it. All of that and more right here with Jerry Reynolds coming up today at 4 o'clock on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Are you or do you know a veteran or a family in need of a heating or air conditioning unit? If so, go now to dasmechanical.org and nominate yourself or someone you know to receive one with installation being donated by our neighbors at DAS Mechanical. We all know this past year has been tough for some in our community. Nick Delancey and his DAS family want to give back, and they're excited to give back, just like this, to help out a veteran or family in need. It's very simple to enter. Go to dasmechanical.org, click the 2026 HVAC System Donation tab, and fill out a very short 6-question nomination form. That's dasmechanical.org. Click the 2026 HVAC System Donation tab and fill out the short form. DAS Mechanical, family owned and proudly serving our community for years. Nominate now at dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
916-779-0929. Couple of messages. I'm a loyal listener, and I think it's a great story. Another one, Grant, you make judgments on people's character every day, good or bad. That's what you do and why people listen. What I mean by that, it's not my job to judge how someone lives their life if they're not breaking the law. Like morals and ethics, I can't. If someone breaks the law, if somebody's getting arrested, if somebody's driving under the influence, and I'm not stating that this is great character and why Diana Rossini had to resign, but I've always talked about what people do in their personal life. That's their personal life. That's up to them. It's not up to me. Don't hurt others. Don't break the law. And you're okay in my book. If that's the way you want to live your life, who am I to judge? I can say, I don't understand it. I can say, well, it wasn't really good for your career. And in this case, I can judge it because it has affected her career and she is out and she has resigned. I don't have anything else to say on it right now. I really don't. But we will take your phone calls at 916-779-0929. And we move on and let's talk to Mac right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Hi, Mac.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Giants.
Yep.
And in my opinion, I think in the last recent years, they've kind of been not building their team correctly, especially for what their ballpark is. For example, they went after Harper, recently. Then they went after Judge. Going after these, and now they have Devers. They're going after power hitters. And let's name all the power hitters that have been successful in San Francisco. Barry Bonds.
Yep.
If you want to say Jeff Kent, in his MVP season, he only had 34 home runs that year, and Buster Posey only had 22. I mean, what you need at that ballpark, and the Giants have went on two different runs since moving into that ballpark, and that was in the early 2000s. And they had Jason Schmidt, Kirk Reeder, Ortiz. They had Alan Embry and Rob Nen. So they had good pitching. And they hit for average. They had gap hitters. And then if you look in 2010, like I said, Buster Posey, when he won MVP, he hit 339. And then you also had Marco Scutaro. You had Freddie Sanchez. And then you had great pitching. You had a great bullpen in Afelt, Lopez, Romo. We could keep going on. And then you had great pitching. And I think the key to winning there is you should be able to recruit pitchers because it's a pitcher's ballpark.
Yeah, it is a pitcher's ballpark.
Load up on pitching and get guys who can hit to the gap, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and
well,
can
listen.
Move the bases.
That's a good point. Madison Bumgarner, Lincecum, all of those players. Here's the problem with that, and I totally agree with you 100%. The game has changed so much. That's the equivalent of, in the NBA, saying you're not going to be a three-point shooting team. You're going to play the old-fashioned way, and the analytics say it doesn't work. Analytics have messed up baseball so much, and I think you bring a great point to this. This, to me, is more analytics, and it's a shame because I agree with what you're saying. It's not a home run ballpark. It's not a power park. It is a singles and doubles ballpark, and I'm with you. Why not spend the money on pitching? Yeah, exactly. Because at the end of the day, winning is what's going to bring people out to the ballpark, not necessarily because, of home runs. It's winning.
Right. And I'm surprised to see Buster Posey, who's won 3 championships that way.
Yeah.
I don't no, I mean, he's only in year 2. But I'm surprised to think that he doesn't know that, if that makes sense. So anyway, that's kind of what my take is on what I think is wrong with the Giants, is that they just they're building their team wrong for what their ballpark is. And
all right, what about their rookie manager, Vitello? Any issues with him so far in the first 3 weeks of the season?
Can I tell you something? I wonder if there's a lack of him not being able to, because he came from college, maybe a lack of inability to get respect. And here's what I'm saying. If your team is hitting 234, then batting average or batting practice the next day should not be optional. Everyone needs to be in the cage. You know what I mean? You need to be working on, he needs to, sometimes you got to give it to your team. You got to do that type of stuff. And you kind of got to be a bad guy, not a bad guy, but you know what I'm trying to say. And I wonder if, because there's a little bit of hesitancy to accept him, that he isn't willing to go there, if that makes sense. And so, and yes, we have seen some mismanagement of the bullpen. Like, for example, a week ago, they put in a guy who you would put in when you're losing by 4 runs and you're up by 2 in the 8th inning. You don't put in your setup guy. Well, that's kind of something you would do in college if because
I think that was in the Yankee. I think that was in the Yankee series, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm not. I can't remember, but yeah, I'm not. So far, I'm not impressed. I didn't like him at Tennessee, but that's because they play kind of new ball. They play, they would wear jackets. And
I didn't watch college baseball enough to be able to comment on it.
Oh yeah, basically Tennessee, everything that we hate about baseball, like dancing around after you hit a home run and stuff. That's what he was doing when he was at Tennessee. So I didn't like him to begin with. So anyway, that's my thought on Tony right now.
Okay.
Anyway,
real quickly,
take it easy, and
real quickly, you're a big Sharks fan.
Oh,
So you're optimistic, right? They don't make the playoffs. They battle all the way to the end. They got eliminated last night. You think they have a bright future? Yes. What do you need? What's the one thing what's the one thing the Sharks need?
Puck moving defensemen. Because if you watch, that, and then you get better on the draws. But if you watch their games, they put so much stress. It takes them so much energy to get the puck out of their zone.
Yeah,
and then it takes them a lot of energy to get the puck out of their neutral zone, that by the time they get it into the other team's zone, you have to go for a line change. So what I don't like about this team is now you're going to get a top 10 pick, and you got some. If you look, the Barracuda are a great team. They could win the Calder Cup. You have young defensemen that are coming up. But if I would like to get a veteran defenseman, because right now your veteran defenseman is Ben Ferraro, and he's like, if you put him on another team, he might be a third line defenseman.
Yeah.
But so
I'm with you. I think you make a good point.
A veteran. I think they need to get a veteran defenseman who can help these young guys come up. I love that the Barracuda, that they brought up some guys from the Barracuda. But yeah, no, that's what I really think they need. They need to move they don't need a Brent Burns guy, but like just a Sandis Ozolinsh type player. That would be helpful. So anyway, have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Mac. And Mac, John Tortorella, 13 of a possible 14 points since he took over for Bruce Cassidy.
Hey, can I tell you, I was skeptical. I was very skeptical.
I know you were. I remember the conversation. I remember the conversation.
I was wrong.
You take care. Have a good afternoon.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
You too. All right. That guy knows his stuff. I don't disagree with him about the Giants. It's not a home run ballpark. And you have to tailor your team for half the games that you play. I mean, you play 81 in your ballpark. I don't disagree with him. I think there's a lot of truth to what he said. And here's the other truth. Yeah, I know it's super early in the season, okay? But the Giants are right now 6-10, okay? And they're already 6 games out of first place. And tonight, they start a series in Cincinnati, and they're 9-7. They better not have this thing better turn around soon, or we won't even be able to talk about like winning the division. Forget about that. You're going to be talking about just, figure out a way to get in as a wild card already with the way the season is going. And this, again, I keep talking about, I understand that we are in the infancy of this season, but you play in the same division as the Dodgers. So that makes it doubly difficult. Robbie Ray on the hill tonight for San Francisco. That game starts in about 20 minutes. All right. Giants and Reds tonight from Cincinnati. All right. 916-779-0929. All right. Said from the 916. I'm not a hockey guy, so hearing that guy say, get the puck out of here was shocking. Thought I heard something else. No, that's what you say. Absolutely. Excited for the hockey playoffs, which start tonight. No, they don't start tonight. Longtime Buffalo Sabres fan. They just won the Atlantic Division for the first time and are the number 1 seed. Heck, if the Bills can win it, why not the Sabres? First of all, the playoffs don't start tonight. I don't know what you're talking about. All right. Grant, first and foremost, a speedy and healthy recovery for the great Dick Vitale. And second, who do you think can beat Colorado in the Western Conference or the upcoming Stanley Cup playoffs? I think Vegas could beat them. I think Edmonton could give them a nice series. I think they are the team to beat clearly, but you saw Vegas go in there the other night and win a really excellent hockey game, 3-2 in overtime. I don't think they're invincible. They would be my odds-on favorite to win, but you got to have great goaltending. From the 916, Severino is a garbage cast-off the Yankees that no one wanted, so his only choice was the A's. I wouldn't call him a garbage cast-off. All right, I think that's too much here. I think that's unfair. He's not a garbage cast-off. All right, that's being too harsh. He's not a frontline pitcher. He wouldn't be a number 1 pitcher on other teams, and he is the number 1 pitcher for the A's, but he's not a garbage cast-off. Okay? That's just not right. It's not right. 916-779-0929. Don't forget, Jerry Reynolds is coming up today at 4 o'clock. Sean Salisbury at 5 o'clock. Got Grant's rant right before Sean. Tomorrow, Doug Christie and Scott Perry will be having a press conference at 10 a.m. Ryan will be out there. And then at 4 o'clock tomorrow, Olden Polynace. We got the playing games this week in the NBA. And then the playoffs begin. And then we get to May 10th, which, by the way, on April 20th, coming up next week, is when we will have the coin flips. And we'll find out whether Sacramento will end up 4th or 5th with lottery odds based on the coin flip with the Utah Jazz. So we'll come back, phone calls, and more. But first, Rhino with his prize picks. I was waiting for Otani to go deep last night. He didn't do it.
Oh, it would have been nice. We were halfway there with Aaron Judge. But the great thing about it is today's a new day on Prize Picks, America's number 1 daily fantasy site and now preferred partner of the NBA. So cool thing about Prize Picks, no revolving lineups, no salary caps, no playing against sharks or other people. You're playing just against the numbers. Also, doesn't have to be one sport. You can go baseball, basketball, hockey playoffs coming up. A lot of cool things, and it's simple. All you do, choose 2 to 6 players, pick more or less on their stat projections, and let them win the night for you. Today is Taco Tuesday, which means we are going to take the discount on LaMelo Ball. Points, rebounds, assists, more than 28.5. We're going to go LaMelo also more than 17.5 points. And Tyler Hero, more than 1.5 made threes. Get in the action with me. Download the app, Prize Picks app. Use the code RYNO50, RYNO50 to get $50 in free play after your first $5 lineup. Make sure you follow me. It's a social site as well. I'll follow you back. You can copy my picks. I'll copy your picks if I like them. And let's get paid together. Go check it out. Rhino50, RYNO50 to get $50 in free play after your first $5 lineup. Prize picks. It's good to be right.
Sounds good. We'll have some phone calls when we come back on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Homeowners, for any electrical project you need done, trust the good dudes at Gabroods. Locally owned, 5-star service experts, always transparent prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Call Gabroods or visit Gabroods.com. G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Have you ever tried to buy gold and silver and felt like you were talking to a used car salesman? That's because the precious metals industry is like the Wild West. Salesmen can say pretty much anything or make any promise they want without repercussion. But Genesis Gold Group is different. They're a faith-driven Christian precious metals company and believe in educating their customers, not pressuring them for a quick sale. Genesis Gold Group focuses on customer service, not sleazy marketing. Genesis Gold Group is named after the first book of the Bible for a reason. Proper stewardship of wealth is their specialty. Find out why they've earned a 5 out of 5 rating for the Better Business Bureau and how they can help you secure your wealth or retirement through physical precious metals. Call right now to learn more.
800-497-8464. 800-497-8464. 800-497-8464. That's 800-497-8464.
Are you or do you know a veteran or a family in need of a heating or air conditioning unit? If so, go now to dasmechanical.org and nominate yourself or someone you know to receive one with installation being donated by our neighbors at DAS Mechanical. We all know this past year has been tough for some in our community. Nick Delancey and his DAS family want to give back, and they're excited to give back, just like this, to help out a veteran or family in need. It's very simple to enter. Go to dasmechanical.org, click the 2026 HVAC System Donation tab, and fill out a very short 6-question nomination form. That's dasmechanical.org. Click the 2026 HVAC System Donation tab and fill out the short form. DAS Mechanical, family owned and proudly serving our community for years. Nominate now at dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org.
Who still listens to the radio? I'll tell you who. People who trust the comforting voices of our community. The Accident Guys have been proudly serving our community for over a decade.
Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got to do is call the Accident Guys.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Jerry Reynolds coming up at 4 o'clock. Sean Salisbury at 5 o'clock. Your phone calls always welcome here at 916-779-0929. Why don't we say hello to John in Roseville. John, welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Hey, Grant. Good to hear your voice again on the airways. And,
John, how are you, man? Great to hear your voice.
Thank you. I'm doing great. Hey, your comment about Severino, yeah, I kind of agree with that. The issue I have with him is last year he already kind of complained about pitching in Sacramento.
Yep.
And it's almost like he's working from behind the eight ball when he pitches at home. When he's on the road, he's lights out. But it seems like he's already defeated. And, you know, I was really pumped up last night after the A's had that great trip in New York for taking the series from the Yankees and the Mets. And they come home, and then within 5 batters, it's 3-0. And, you know, it just turned me off. And I thought, you know, you're the ace of this staff. They're paying you good money. And yet I just have a problem with him with when he made that comment. And it doesn't look like it's getting any better this year.
Yeah, you know, that's a great point. It's a great point. I believe that was his first start, if I'm not mistaken, at home this year. I don't know if he pitched last weekend against Houston, but your point is well taken. I do remember those comments last year, and he does not seem to be very effective at home. That's for sure.
It is. And I really enjoy, I mean, the A's are a fun team to watch. If they get any pitching, and you're hoping that, you know, maybe some of these young guys in the back end of the rotation, or even where they have them in AAA, they may come up this year to help. But you have to rely on Severino and Springs. And if you can't rely on him at home, it just makes it kind of like an awkward situation.
Boy, their pitching though last week was great, was it not, John? What they did to the Yankees is unbelievable. They shut them down, and then they destroyed the Mets.
It was. Yeah. It's amazing what they did, but also I'm gonna be realistic too. Having Soto out of the lineup for the Mets, boy, that changed that team. Oh my God,
they're terrible.
I mean, but it was kind of eye-opening to see how futile they were without him in the lineup. So it makes me think. I thought the Mets were going to be a very good team this year, and they still could be. I know it's early, but you know, I guess we'll wait to see. But that's what I had to say about that. And again, enjoy to have you back on the airways, bud.
Hey, thanks very much for calling. Appreciate it. You take care.
Okay,
bye now.
You take care.
Isn't
the Mets got? Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, isn't the problem the mound, according to Severino?
How could it be the mound?
There was a lot of complaints about the mound at Sutter Home Park.
I mean, yeah, there were absolutely, but now that was last year, right?
Right. Why not fix the mound?
We're still talking about a problem with the mound?
Well, no, that's what I'm asking. Is
I can't
more
imagine
than that?
I can't imagine that.
Okay.
I can't imagine, because there was an issue last year. There were a couple of issues last year with that ballpark. I think that's fair. You also have to remember that ballpark is a shared ballpark. There's baseball played there almost every day.
Shout out to that grounds crew.
Absolutely. Shout out to that grounds crew is right. Yes. Yes. Especially with some of the extreme heat that you get here, and a ball game almost every day. Not that we're talking about football, we're talking about baseball, but there's still a lot of activity that goes on the field. Yeah, that grounds crew, they got to do a tremendous job. Absolutely.
Yeah, that mound gets twice the use. That's a big
deal.
It's
not just the mound, it's the infield. It's,
I know.
You want true hops as an infielder. You don't want of course, listen, it used to be where you would have multi-purpose facilities where the A's played, where the Raiders played, and by October, the field was completely chewed up after one football game. I remember going to A's games where you could still see the yard lines in the outfield, right? And the field, and if it had rained at all before that, it was not a great place to play baseball after a football game or two early in the year.
Probably not a great place to play football after a baseball game either, with the infield.
With the dirt. Well, I used to experience that growing up at Shea Stadium and Yankee Stadium, for that matter. The dirt was always part of the NFL. It was always part of the NFL because they were, of quite frankly, other than maybe like the Soldier Field and Lambeau Field, but most stadiums had a baseball team in it as well. So you were playing on dirt, right? You were playing on dirt.
You're
and
used
it's not
to
like
it.
in the
Yeah.
60s they were putting sod down after the baseball season was over.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Absolutely. My favorite competition, because the Giants were so bad every year, was when they had the annual punt, pass, and kick competition.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids used to come out onto the field, and it was at halftime, and nobody left their seats when you had the punt, pass, and kick competition. It was phenomenal. I used to love that. Great memories being at the stadium for that.
Why didn't you do the punt, pass, and kick competition?
First of all, I didn't even think about it, number one. And number two, unless I could have brought my lacrosse stick onto the field, I wouldn't have done very well.
Is that why they put you on the D line?
I think that's why they put me on the D line. Yes. Yes. But, every now and then you'd get a kid to throw the football, and everybody in the stands would be like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or a punt.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, my gosh.
I think Andy Reid took part in that as a kid.
Yes, I believe he did.
I think
and
the
there are
video's
other,
there. Yeah.
yes, I believe you're right. And there are other well-known stories from individuals that were in that. That got to be a big thrill. Can you imagine going on to an NFL field as a kid at halftime to do that competition?
Well, yeah, and what you have to do to make it to be able to go on at halftime, because there's, qualifiers and all that. It makes me think of, for us growing up at my age group, this will probably hit with somebody right now listening. They used to have something called Hoop It Up, and it was a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and it would take over wherever it came to, just half courts everywhere with the portable hoops, and you'd win your city and you move on to the next one. It was a big deal. And then you ended up at the Nationals. So, yeah. Very good competition.
All right. Scale 1 to 10. What is your interest tonight? NBA play-in starts with Miami, Charlotte, Portland, Phoenix. 1 to 10, 10 being great interest, 1 being very little interest. Where are you at?
I'm at an 8. So I don't like the play-in, but out of the first 2 nights, my excitement's way more about tonight. I want to see Charlotte play. I want to see them get past, but they're playing Miami, right? Miami's done this before. And then Phoenix, Portland, to me, we talked about it yesterday. That's a very interesting matchup as well. I think Phoenix should come through, but this is a big game for Portland.
My interest level's at about a 4. I'm not a fan of the play-in. I think it's a gimmick. I don't like gimmicks. I'm not a fan of it at all. I think that when you play 82 games needs to determine your top 8 teams in the playoffs.
So you're just going to ignore good games then? So I'm with you.
Pardon?
I said, are you going to ignore good games then? Because I'm with you. I don't like the play-in.
What do you mean I'm ignoring good games? How am I ignoring good games?
Because you said you don't like the play-in. So your interest is in...
I don't like playing. Well, what makes you think was the Kings Mavericks a good game last year?
No, it was not.
Okay, so what makes you think they're going to be good games?
On paper, these are really good games.
Okay, well,
resumes.
But,
the teams that have played.
Do we need games that look good on paper after 82 games in a season that started in the second week of October that ends in the second week of April, and now we've got to play more games to get into the playoffs? What did you just play 82 games for?
Partner, you're preaching to the choir. I'm with you, but this is the way it is. It's the result that we have, and if I'm going to watch one night of the play-in, it's going to be these 4 teams and not tomorrow's night.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I think that more people will watch the play-in tomorrow than tonight because of Steph Curry being in one of the games.
Yeah, and you've got the LA market as well.
Yes.
So, yeah, that'll be huge.
Yep. All right. Don't forget, Jerry Reynolds coming up in a little bit right here on Fox Sports Sacramento show in Salisbury right after that. So we've got all of that. And Grant's rant said, I do not like the play, and I prefer how it was before. So do I. I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of that at all. Patrick weighing in from New York. It was like Shea Stadium West when the Mets and the Jets shared the field. It was very interesting, to say the least. All right. Here we go. Grand Sports Business Note of the Day. TV ratings for the Masters were 14 million viewers on Sunday and a peak over 20 million in the final hour, up 8% from the previous year. That is from Lynn. It's big numbers. It's big numbers. And then you go from that and you lose your live golfers and you try to like navigate your way through. You know, it's funny when you talk about golf, Lynn. I don't know about you. I have a real difficult time watching golf the way I used to just because of the field, who's playing and who's not. You know, I watch the players, but you don't have the best golfers in the world there. I'm already looking forward to the PGA, but more so the U.S. Open, which is always on Father's Day weekend. It's my birthday. And then the Open Championship. And I have so much more interest now in the Open Championship because very often the courses are played on some of the courses that I played back in 2019. And I have a completely different appreciation for golf in that area of the world and playing on some of the courses that have been the home to previous Opens like Troon, like Muirfield, like Turnberry, like St. Andrews, like Carnoustie. Like it's a Muirfield. I mean, it's so thrilling to be on those old courses and you walk into the clubhouse and you see all of the history on the wall, all of the photographs from all of the Opens that have been played there. Like when you go to St. Andrews, oh my gosh, and you see pictures from and artifacts, you go to St. Andrews and you can see golf clubs from 500 years ago. I mean, it's unbelievable. Seriously, it's incredible. I mean, the history to go play a golf course that's been playing golf for 700 years, and you stand on that first tee, and you turn around and you look at those old buildings behind the 18th and first tee, and then you look down the road along the 18th fairway. Like it's, and the town of St. Andrews, like when you walk into a pub in St. Andrews, it's all golf. It's golf everywhere. And the history, the artifacts in these breweries and these pubs and restaurants, it's the town of St. Andrews is unlike almost any place I've ever been to. And we were only there for 3 nights. But if I go back, I would like to spend a week in St. Andrews and make that as my base. And if I have to go and drive 2 hours to go play golf on the other side of the country or 3 hours, I would do that. What a magical place.
Passport required.
Well, I'm good. I don't know about you. So I'll tell you what, I'll send you videos from when I get over there. Okay?
I was just letting everybody know you need to have a passport to do that.
Yes. As I said, I'll send you videos and pictures. I'm happy to do that for you. I'm happy.
You're such a great guy.
Speaking of great guys, that would be coming up next. That would be the one and only Jerry Reynolds. Jerry, when we come back, we'll get his stamp and his thoughts on the season that just was. That's coming up next right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
You know that chair you sit in for the game and somehow wake up in hours later? That's the Z-Cliner by FlexSteel. This isn't just a recliner. It's a sleep chair built for real comfort. The Z-Cliner smoothly reclines into a zero-gravity position, giving you the support you need whether you're watching the late game, taking a quick nap, or sleeping through the night. FlexSteel combines the comfort of a premium recliner with ergonomic support designed for long periods of rest, not just sitting. From your head and shoulders to your legs and lower back, the Z-Cliner is built to help your body relax the right way. It's perfect for movie nights, overnight guests, or anyone who wants the flexibility of a chair that truly does more. And because it's FlexSteel, you get durable craftsmanship, smooth motion, and lasting quality you can count on. Watch in it, relax in it, sleep in it. The FlexSteel Z-Cliner. Your seat, your sleeper, your comfort zone. Find it at Flex Steel retailers nationwide at zkleiner.com/danpatrick.
Building friendships and bonding with family. It's what people experience during a day out at Golden State Shooting Center. Only moments outside of Sacramento. Golden State Shooting Center is a favorite for those who love the sport of trap, skeet, and sporting clay target shooting. It's also where the California Youth Sport Shooting Association trains and competes. New teams are being formed, and if you've got a son or daughter in high school, they can compete for college scholarships. Learn more at goldenstateshootingcenter.com or call 916-539-8544.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Spring is in the air, and Aleve long-lasting pain relief is here to keep you moving. The days are longer and the flowers are blooming. Whether it's gardening, yard work, or just spending more time outdoors, spring is a way of getting us moving despite any body pain. That's where Aleve can keep you going. With just one dose, Aleve gives you long-lasting body pain relief for up to 12 hours. From sunup to sundown, Aleve's got your back. Try Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Tell your friends.
Grant's back!
Grant Napear is back on the Sacramento airwaves right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst. K284 CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Rolling right along in hour number 2. Don't forget, tomorrow, Scott Perry and Doug Christie with a press conference at 10 a.m. Brian will be out there, and we will have sound tomorrow. The one and only Jerry Reynolds joins us to put a bow on this season. Jerry, how are you?
I'm doing good, Grant. Great to be with you. And, I'm just glad the season's over for the Kings, to tell you the truth.
Oh, boy. I think
one.
that, oh, my gosh. I think most people are glad that it's over. How would you characterize this 82-game season that was just completed?
In one word, I would say underwhelming. I was hoping, hoping at the start to be overwhelmed, and then would have settled for whelmed, and then became underwhelmed. So,
and it doesn't take a overwhelm you.
No, I wasn't expecting a great. I was expecting them to be, say a 35 to 38 win team, a little ahead of. The Vegas line, I think. I was a little more optimistic, and so that's a long way from 22, so a lot of reasons, but disappointing. And then, of course, that team is where it is, and went, like I say, the biggest disappointment to me was a couple of years ago with the Beam team that, they were young and exciting, and this team, for the most part, of the guys who are paying a lot, it's an older team. and got a lot of issues there, and so that's the disappointing part, I think.
You made a comment midway through the season, and I don't remember the month, when we were doing the post-game show with Ryan, and you said, hey, it's okay being an old team if you're winning. It's not okay being an old team if you're losing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what future is it to have older guys at the end of their career, and they can't lead you to wins? Young rookies can lead you to losses, and then there's hope that they'll get better. And I think we saw that at the end of the season. I mean, I was glad they finally, the last 20 games or so, really did give the young players a lot more leeway and consistent minutes. I was hoping they would do that sooner, in my opinion. They probably should have. Looking back, I think they would probably say the same thing, because it seemed like that they got a little better view of maybe who can be part of their future going forward. And they did, I think for the most part, some of the younger players did improve a little more.
Jerry, my biggest issue, or one of my biggest issues to this team, was a guy that I have a lot of respect for, and I think most people do, in Russell Westbrook, the way he approaches his job, what he's accomplished in his career. I didn't understand him being signed, but besides that, I didn't understand his workload. I didn't understand why the Kings kept on playing him so much, particularly at the end of the games. It just never made sense to me. And again, I'm not anti-Russ. I have a lot of respect for him, but it just never made sense to me.
Well, it didn't me either, and I'm one of his biggest fans because he's been an all-time great. And but the truth is, his last three teams he had played for before coming to the Kings, he was an off-the-bench role player, and he's pretty good in that, whether it was Denver or Washington or So once he left Oklahoma City, and I think Houston was the last probably place where he was actually a starter. So I just assumed he'd be an off the bench player, kind of helping young guys along, which he was that. He helped them. But to your point, just the total number of minutes and being on the court all the time probably didn't work out as well as it should have, because as we said, if your older players are going to lead you to losses, what advantage is there in that?
Jerry Reynolds joining us right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. The bright spot of this year is Max Reynolds, who was taken 42nd overall in the draft. His skills offensively are very apparent, but the game is also played on the other side of the floor. What do you think is a realistic expectation for him defensively to be able to obtain in his career?
I think that, with his intelligence and work ethic, that I think eventually he could become an average center. He's clearly well below that right now. But I mean, he's got good instincts. He doesn't shy away from contact. He's not strong enough in his legs or his upper body. But, there are centers, top flight centers that aren't really particularly good defenders, like a Karl Anthony Towns. And, you can go down the list of several, but I think he can become average, and clearly with his offensive skill set, he's got a chance to be really good. I think I don't know how many guys I've seen, with a complete, his left hand is good off the dribble as well as shots around the basket. He can pass off the dribble. This is a young 7-footer, and his 3-point shot isn't there, but it looks like it could be and will be, because he's a good free throw shooter. So, yeah, I think the Kings really got a steal there. Scott Perry and his staff, I mean, if you held that draft over, I'm sure he'd be in the top 10. I just can't see how he wouldn't be.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then Nick Clifford, how do you project him? Is he more of a role player than a starter? And again, I don't have a crystal ball any more than you do, but where do you think his best fit will be?
Yeah, it's really hard to project, but I kind of see him. Of course, I always look at it and say, what would his potential be on a 50-plus win team? To me, that's where you ought to look at guys. Not can they start, because starting on a 20-win team doesn't mean much.
Great point.
But could he what can he do? And right now, I'd say it looks like he'd be more of he could be more of a key off the bench player, and then when you look at a team like Oklahoma City, they've got 4 or 5 guys like that, and the Kings. So there's no downside, but I think partly he doesn't have a true position, which is a strength if you're an off the bench player, and a weakness if you're a starter. You need to really have a strength and have a position, I think, and I think his best position really is going to be kind of a 2-3, a small wing. In today's game, but you could play small wings in today's game.
And then there's Dylan Cardwell, an undrafted free agent out of Auburn, who, Jerry, that's a player the Kings really haven't had in a long time, have they? They haven't had a guy like that.
No, I'm not sure they ever have, really.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as really protecting the basket, and really almost have to go back to Scott Pollard, who could do it. And he wasn't as quick off his feet as Dylan, but I think Holden Polynice was similar in some ways, better, of course, in a lot of ways too. But I think there again, he really reminds me a lot of the Robinson kid at New York for the Knicks. As a guy that really can change games, and
Mitchell
he
Robinson?
does.
Yeah.
Mitchell Robinson, yeah. Mitchell really isn't an offensive force, but he's very valuable because when you put enough offensive players around him that are good, like the Knicks have, he what he does is plenty. And I think Cardwell has a lot of that, and he's probably a little bit stronger. So, again, I think Scott Perry and his staff, they can be really proud of that one, getting a guy like that that's undrafted. And there again, if that draft were held over, I mean, there's guys in the first round that probably didn't have as good a year as he had.
And the front office did a really good job picking up Precious Chichua. He was a real bright spot.
Oh, terrific. I'm really high on that guy. Just got better as the year went along. I think, of course, Scott was pretty familiar with him in New York.
Yep.
He's one of those guys, I think, that now at the age, he's still young and is just figuring out how to play. And I think the value, I just hope the Kings can keep him. I think it's going to be tough because the league, I know how the league is, and their eyes got opened up a lot too. And so I think there's going to be some decent contracts offered to Precious. But the fact that, in my mind, that he's one of those guys too that's really almost a true power forward, but can play small ball 5. I mean, he can guard a lot of the centers in the league. I mean, obviously, he's not going to guard Jokic, but then again, nobody guard Jokic or Wembanyama.
When you were in the front office of the Kings and then with the Monarchs, what criteria did you use for evaluating the performance of a coach? How much did you listen to the players? How much was it just your eyes and what you were seeing? And how much of it was just talking to other people? How much of it was the standings? Like, can you talk about that aspect of how you were evaluating a coach, regardless of what level you were at?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I always, that you wanted to take as much information as you could. And I, if I had to put one as most important, I would say players, to get their input. I'll take another step. The key players.
Yeah.
The key players, because I know, from coaching that guys that aren't playing, they're probably not going to like you, but that's the way almost it should be sometime. What you don't want is your better players not liking the coach, and so you need to find the guys you're counting on, and then.
Did you find that players were pretty honest with you at the end of the year when you had your exit interviews? How much truth do you think you heard from players on the coach?
I think you could be honestly. I thought you could get real honest information because, as you know, and have been in a league like you have, is that at the end of the day they're looking at it for what I think can help my career.
Yes.
And so, and especially when you can sit with and if they trust you, and I think that you trust them, is like, no, we're having this conversation. I'm not going to repeat anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you can get a really good sound. And any GM should do that, or front office person. I mean, to try to get legitimate information, and then of course from people on your staff, and then around the league that you trust. I mean, there's people you don't want their advice because they gladly lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's it's just like in any profession. So, and then you take it into effect, and then look at what your circumstances are. I think that's the other part. I always remember, in fact, with the Monarchs, I knew that probably we didn't need to change a coach at one time because there wasn't any reason. We didn't have enough players to win anyway. And so I thought it'd be more important to stick with it, even though it might not be the exact best coach, but we need to get a little more talent and probably then make the change to when we're ready to kind of do something.
Do you think that's the situation right now with Sacramento, with the Kings?
I think it's maybe a combination of all that. I think I don't know. I think in reality is whether with the fans whether they think Doug should be back or not be back. That's just a matter of opinion. But the truth is you're not going to hire Pat Riley or something anyway. And of course, I've said too that that's one thing. The difference between a young coach is trying to prove himself like Doug and say an established guy like a Popovich or Riley, early on when they saw the team wasn't going to do it, they'd have probably won less games.
Right. Sure.
So I mean, that's just the reality. That's just the way it is. And of course, they're through their careers, they proved that on a couple occasions.
Yeah. Jerry, do you remember a time, and I was thinking maybe the late 70s, before Bird and Magic came into the league, but do you remember more negativity surrounding the league? It seems like the majority of the talk right now with the NBA is tanking and load management and all the players that aren't playing on a fairly regular basis. I don't know if I've heard it this negative, and I'm talking about from former players, media members. It's really unfortunate that the game, to me, is being talked about less, and the problems with the game are being talked about more.
Well, I think you're 100% right there, Grant. I agree with that. I mean, I honestly felt like the regular season this year is one of the worst in years, and a lot of it due to injuries and so many unusual number of blowout games that we hadn't seen. And I think they did saw a stat where there's a record in that number of 35, 40-point losses or whatever. And so that hurts. And then, the cost of tickets, all that sort of thing. Yeah, I remember, of course, I'm old enough to remember a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But in the 70s, before Magic and Bird really did transform the league, you had one game a week on Sunday afternoon, and the NBA Finals was on tape delay.
Yep.
That was a reality. And it just wasn't, it was a very minor league to speak of. And David Stern, to his undying credit, saw the value of two superstars on teams that automatically had a lot of appeal and promoted them, and they backed it up with talent and teams. And really, the league took off after that, as you know, and Jordan took it to another level and all that. And now I think it's going the other direction in my mind. Now the playoffs I'm sure the playoffs will be very good, and that's always can be a savings grace. It kind of was last year too, but we'll see. I'm one of those that feel they really need to look at some rule changes, and the officiating how they officiate the game needs to change just to speed it up and all that sort of thing.
Jerry, my biggest issue that I still am trying to comprehend is the league has done everything to accommodate the wishes of players and coaches. No 4 games and 5 nights anymore. Not as many back-to-backs. Staying in a city to play a team twice instead of once, a couple of times a year, to reduce travel. The All-Star break now is a lot longer. It seems like everything is being done to make it easier, and yet the players, and more so the teams and the coaches, are making it seem like it's more demanding than ever. I don't understand that. I don't get it. It used to be more demanding not that long ago when you played 4 and 5, right? And you didn't have as nice of airplanes. And we can go on and on. It just seems that was much more difficult than it is now.
Oh, it was, and it totally was. And for anybody to think otherwise, it's pretty foolish. No, it was. I remember when, you flew commercial, and you stayed in Holiday Inns or Marriott's. You didn't stay, and the players slept their own equipment. They took care of their own bags. And,
That's right,
and all that sort of thing, and so, and you didn't have, you had one assistant coach, you had one trainer, you had one maybe equipment guy occasionally, one PR person, and that was your traveling crew. And so it was very different. You didn't have full-time strength coaches or strength coaches at all, and you didn't have, just all the helpful nutritionists and all that sort of thing.
And most guys played 82 games.
And well, here, to me, and I think, yeah, here's the difference, and I really believe this, that in those days, and I go back to the Eddie Johnsons and those guys, but it was around the league, that if you could play, even if you're hurt, if you're a minor injury, a tweaked ankle, if you were hurt and could play, you played. You found ways to play. And today's game, and I don't know if it's all on the players, but if there's a minor injury of some sort, they find reasons not to play.
Yeah.
And it's always, it's on the basis of we got to protect the players or shut them down and all that sort of thing. I mean, the idea of shutting a player down, at the end of years and things like that. Of course, I always remember when the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan's second year, he was hurt early in the year, and they were going to shut him down at the end of the year. And he said, "No, I'm playing," and he played and got him in the playoffs. And they didn't want to be in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and so I don't know if that makes sense, but that really, I'm convinced that's the difference. The idea that guys, wouldn't want to play, every game, that's changed, and that's a change that's not for the better. And I do think that getting to the 65 game requirement's a good move in the right direction.
Yeah, I would agree, Jerry. Not to malign some of the hotel chains that you just mentioned, but there was a real benefit of staying there after the games when we had to get up the next day to fly commercial. The price of beer was much more affordable at those hotels, and we went through some beer at the end of games during that time.
Yeah.
So I always look at the bright spot.
Well, that is, I think that you hit it. You hit the bright spot,
right?
And by golly, it was much needed cheap beer. I'll tell you that.
My first year hanging out with Jerry and Phil Johnson, I realized early on in my career, I'm like, this is not a pattern of behavior that's going to be good for me.
Well,
I learned that in a hurry.
Like I say, there's some things that are actually almost required to get through the year. And in my opinion, several beers after games was part of it.
Yeah, especially when you're losing almost every night.
Right? Yeah. Well, I was going to say that was the thing. It really didn't change winning or losing because you're so happy you won. And if you lost, you felt you just needed some beer. That's all I can tell you.
We did. We did. Jerry, appreciate it. Thank you very much. We'll be talking to you throughout this off season as we get ready for the lottery and the NBA draft. And how many miles you walking a day now?
I've cut down. I'm down to 50 minutes. So which is not quite 3. So I kind of Yeah. So, but I'm
Pete
there.
The Pete Carrill pace now, or are you still going at a good pace?
Well, it's a slower pace than it used to be, but I'm not down to Pete's pace. When I get down to Pete's pace, I'll just quit.
yeah. 50 minutes might cover a mile with Coachy, right?
Yeah, well, I always say I love walking with him, but I've never counted it as exercise.
Especially with a cigar in your hand. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But the stories worth millions. Let's put it that way.
All right, Jerry, take care. Have a good rest of the day. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, any time for you and Ryan. Take care, Grant.
All right, take care. What a classic. I mean, really. Oh my gosh. The one and only Jerry. You could just talk to him every minute of every day and you'd be happy all the time, which I was happy for decades being alongside him. How lucky was I? How lucky was I? We'll come right back. Grant Napear, Fox Sports, Sacramento.
Jackson Rancheria. Let's go.
Jackson. We're giving away life-changing cash at Jackson. Spin the super prize wheel, and you can win up to $1 million. Fridays and Saturdays, 5 to 10 p.m. Sundays, 2 to 7 p.m.
Jackson Rancheria. Let's go.
Buckle up, because we're also giving away an RV this Memorial Day. Earn entries now playing your favorite games, and be here 8 p.m. for your chance to win. Let's go.
Let's go.
You know the songs, you know the sound. Now you can hear them live at Jackson. Eagles tribute band One of These Nights is live June 13th, and our tribute series is packed with iconic rock. Journey Revisited, Skinner and Friends, CCR, and more.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's rock. The music and the wins are waiting at Jackson.
Jackson Rancheria.
Let's go.
Did you know we're on YouTube? Fox Sports Radio. You can find all of your favorite shows on YouTube.
Look at us. We're waving at you right now.
Did you know that you can find the best clips and the best videos from your favorite shows?
All the interviews, clips, everything is there.
This is why you're the smartest listeners in the world.
Completely agree.
Because you went to YouTube and you searched Fox Sports Radio, and you were the ones that hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. You're the ones that watch videos from Two Pros and a Cup of Joe with Jonas Knox, Brady Quinn, and LeVar Arrington.
You can't even make this up.
Dan Patrick, Colin Cowherd, Stu Gotts and company. Live. That's so good. Cavino and Rich. Ooh, yeah. The Odd Couple with Rob Parker and Kelvin Washington. The Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon.
Think about that for a second.
And the Ben Maller Show. Fox Sports Radio. On YouTube. Wow. By searching Fox Sports Radio.
Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe. Hit that thumbs up icon and comment away.
Great stuff with Jerry. Your comments at 916-779-0929. Getting back to my open of the show today, I think this is the same individual who responded, I did not realize that affair is front page news everywhere. Geez, my bad. You see, you're missing the entire point. This is nothing about an affair. I don't even know if they were having an affair. I don't know that. There's no evidence to support that. Innuendos, what I think may be going on in my own mind, this is not about Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini possibly having an affair. It's about crossing a line of a lead journalist for a prestigious, a well-known publication like The Athletic, which brings into question ethics with your job. You're missing the story. This is a story about ethics. It's a story about integrity. It's a story about, and it goes both ways, by the way. But in Rossini, who resigned today from her position in the NFL, who, by the way, was the one that broke the Max Crosby story a couple of weeks ago when the trade was nixed with Baltimore. This is not about an affair. This is not about adultery. This is, and which I don't know if it occurred. This is about the ethical standards of a reporter clearly crossing the line who represents a publication such as The Athletic. All right. And the perception as it relates to women in this industry just got stained. All right. That's the reality. That's the story. I think you're missing the point here. All right. I really do. I think you're missing the entire point here. This is not just about a married man and a married woman allegedly having an affair. I don't know that. I don't know what they were doing. It doesn't, that part of it's not even to me part of the story for me personally. All right. Said Reynolds is still a bit undersized and Doug has him running all over the floor. Not that it makes him a poor defender, but if someone could actually teach him some defense, he would excel, I believe. I don't think he'll ever excel. The key, what you're trying to do here, you're trying to get him to be adequate. All right. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get him to be adequate. If he can become adequate right now, I would take that. Ryan, anything that Jerry said that stuck out to you?
100%. I talked to him so much with you on the post-game shows. I talked to him as a friend, just catching up, and maybe we get into basketball, and you learn something new all the time. And today I learned something new when he said Neek doesn't really have a position. We've been talking about that over the last couple of weeks on the post-game show. But when Jerry said that's okay for a guy coming off the bench, but not for a starter, he's so right about that.
Yep.
Think about some of your best bench players and scorers that you think about. Malik Monk in Sacramento's case.
Yep.
Not a point guard, not a true shooting guard. It's a Jerryism. He is the only one that sees the game in those nuances and able to explain them with just a simple sentence like that. It's incredible.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Always good to have him on. Just the best. So we're going to be doing a lot of shows. By the way, speaking of shows, I'm going to be on tonight at 7 o'clock over on YouTube and X with my Open Forum Tuesday. But we will be getting together. We've got a lot of big dates coming up. May 10th is one.
Yeah.
April 20th is one coming up with the coin flip. But then May 10th is the lottery. That's on a Sunday. So I don't know what we'll be doing there. But we'll be covering it on Monday, and then we'll have a lot of shows over on YouTube and X leading up to the draft in addition to here. So we'll be very busy.
And the King's Court will be making its return as well.
Love it.
So
Love it.
look out for that. We're going into If You Don't Like That season, which is always a fun time.
Love it. That same individual. Again, though, yeah, well, you texted me. I'm responding to your message. So, yeah, I'm going to keep talking about it. Listen, if you don't think that I'm going to continue to talk about what I think is the biggest story of the day, and one of the biggest stories, this is not a good story for the NFL leading up to the draft. This is not exactly what the NFL wants to deal with. And I'm just wondering if the NFL put pressure on her and the Athletic to nip this in the bud, so to speak, before the draft. That's the last thing you want leading up to the draft in 2 weeks in Pittsburgh.
Okay, so let me play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Why is Mike Vrabel not getting a ton of heat right now?
Well, I think he is, but in a different way. He's not going to resign from his job, and he's not going to get fired. So I don't know if the league will hand out a quote-unquote punishment, but he's getting heat. I mean, I've been reading stories and listening to those and that have a voice. He's getting heat.
Okay. Yeah, I actually thought Diana Rossini didn't get that much heat. A lot of the big national voices were not talking about this because they didn't know the facts of, were the pictures edited? Were they not edited? And so it was interesting reading that response from her resignation. You nailed it. It's ethics followed by integrity because do you think she has a job if she didn't lie about it? Still with the Athletic?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it probably would have been a leave of absence type of a thing. Let things simmer down and come back next year. Don't cover the draft this year.
Yeah.
And we'll, I that's what I think would have happened.
Yeah. She kind of wrote this off as my contract was coming up anyways.
Come on.
That's why it's a little bit unsavory. So,
I don't understand this individual. Talking about this is too gross for words. What's gross about it? What kind of world are you living in? Gross? What kind of society do you think you're living in? Gross? How do you watch TV if you think this is gross? Do you watch TV? Do you watch primetime TV with some of the commercials that you listen to? I mean, why is this gross? How is this gross? In what way is this gross?
We're talking about reporting and we're talking about lying. That's all we're talking about. We're not talking about their personal decisions and what they do behind closed doors or at resorts. We're strictly talking about her role as a reporter and lying about where she was at and who she was with.
I haven't talked about anything else. I haven't gotten into what could have been going on because I don't give a damn what was going on. It doesn't matter to me.
Have we mentioned their marriages? No, we have not. Come on. We mentioned they're married, but we're not talking about that side of it.
No, it's their own lives. It's their own business. Do what you want. They're not hurting me. But how you say talking about this is too gross for words. What's gross about it?
Yeah.
I mean, wake up. Gross? What kind of world are you living in? Are you living in such a bubble that you're filtering out every single thing that bothers you on planet Earth? Come on. Be an adult here, would you please? Be an adult. How's that gross?
By the way, I'm going to lose my cred in the YouTube chat if I don't ask you this. CM Punk or Roman Reigns? Which way you going?
Don't know about either or. Help me out here.
I choose one. CM Punk, Roman Reigns.
What's the last name? Roman what?
Roman Reigns.
All right, I'll go the latter. I don't even know who we're talking about here.
Okay.
Why? Why did that happen?
It's topical. It's WrestleMania week, Grant.
Oh my gosh. This has to do with wrestling?
Yes.
I've never heard of either or. That's why I said I picked the latter.
It's the main event of WrestleMania, man.
Oh my God. I'd rather watch two dogs play hockey on my front yard. I mean, give me a freaking break, would you please?
How could dog? Oh my God.
Wherever you put skates on them, let them go.
And they're going to be able to hold the stick too? You know, they can only stand on those
No, the stick has to be around their neck, kind of like you when you play the games with the poles on it, you know, like on the table hockey. That's how you would do that.
Have you thought about this before?
No, I'm just saying. I mean, give me a freaking break.
Have you called dogs playing hockey in the front yard?
I haven't, but I could. I could announce that.
Fido to the right.
I mean, yeah, I could do that. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
Did I pick the right one for you with your WrestleMania stuff?
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah.
Now, if you told me Gorilla Monsoon or Ivan Putski, then that would be challenging for me. I would probably go with Monsoon there over Ivan Putski.
Gorilla Monsoon, legend, R.I.P.
Yeah, I watched him in person at Madison Square Garden.
You know, he's widely regarded as one of the best wrestling announcers of all time.
Well, I'll tell you, and I mean this, as a kid, watching that, and I remember my dad took me and my brother to watch that at Madison Square Garden. We watched Gorilla Monsoon at Madison Square Garden.
Do you know how lucky you are to say you've watched wrestling at Madison Square Garden?
Really?
Yes.
You know that I've watched pretty much everything at Madison Square Garden. When I think about it, I've watched the NBA, the NHL. I've watched the Milrose Games, which is the indoor track, which is a great event. I watched college basketball, the ECAC Holiday Festival. I watched the NHL All-Star Game there when Bobby Orr slipped on the ice being introduced. I've watched some amazing things in that building, including Gorilla Monsoon.
Love Gorilla Monsoon.
Yeah.
Gorilla Monsoon was the good guy, right? And Putski was the heel. Yeah, that's what I thought. What's the weirdest thing that comes to Madison Square Garden besides the Westminster Dog Show?
Well, you know, the Westminster Dog Show is a huge event annually at Madison Square Garden. Huge.
I mean, huge. Yeah, but is it really that?
You know, I've never been to a concert at Madison Square Garden.
Really?
Nope. Never been to a concert at MSG.
Okay, so if you could rewind that and pick one act to see at MSG, who would it have been?
That's a fabulous question. I used to go to concerts if I went at the Nassau Coliseum, which was the home of the Islanders, because it was closer to where I lived and less expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to give that some thought. Yeah. I mean, Madison Square Garden's obviously had some amazing concerts.
Yeah. I don't think that the Westminster Dog Show has a massive following. I just think the people that follow it have a lot of money
I agree.
And they're very invested in it.
I agree. Yep. I'm with you on that. Don't forget, Sean Salisbury is coming up after Grant's rant. All of that ahead right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
It's Rhino inviting you to join me on America's #1 daily fantasy site, Prize Picks. What I love about Prize Picks is real sports knowledge meets real payouts. You're not competing against sharks, just the numbers. In basketball, points, rebounds, assists, baseball, hits, total bases. One swing can cash your pick. Golf fans, birdies, strokes, and round-by-round performance. Every shot counts and every pick matters. It's simple. Choose 2 to 6 players, pick more or less on their stat projection, and let them win the night for you. Download the Prize Picks app today using the code Rhino50 to get $50 in free play after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Rhino, RYNO 50 to get $50 in free play after your first $5 lineup. One app, over 100 sports. Pick, predict, cash, Prize Picks.
Are you or do you know a veteran or a family in need of a heating or air conditioning unit? If so, go now to dasmechanical.org and nominate yourself or someone you know to receive one, with installation being donated by our neighbors at DAS Mechanical. We all know this past year has been tough for some in our community. Nick Delancey and his DAS family want to give back, and they're excited to give back, just like this, to help out a veteran or family in need. It's very simple to enter. Go to dasmechanical.org. Click the 2026 HVAC System Donation tab and fill out a very short 6-question nomination form. That's dasmechanical.org. Click the 2026 HVAC System Donation tab and fill out the short form. DAS Mechanical, family owned and proudly serving our community for years. Nominate now at dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org.
Have you ever tried to buy gold and silver and felt like you were talking to a used car salesman? That's because the precious metals industry is like the Wild West. Salesmen can say pretty much anything or make any promise they want without repercussion. But Genesis Gold Group is different. They're a faith-driven Christian precious metals company and believe in educating their customers, not pressuring them for a quick sale. Genesis Gold Group focuses on customer service, not sleazy marketing. Genesis Gold Group is named after the first book of the Bible for a reason. Proper stewardship of wealth is their specialty. Find out why they've earned a 5 out of 5 rating through the Better Business Bureau and how they can help you secure your wealth or retirement through physical precious metals. Call right now to learn more.
800-497-8464. 800-497-8464. 800-497-8464. That's 800-497-8464.
It's the start of official grilling season, so get outside and fire up the grills with Heartland Steak Co. Known for its high-quality meat, unbeatable freshness, and a family-style commitment to care, that's the Heartland difference. And whether you're hosting a backyard barbecue, planning weeknight dinners, or giving someone the gift of Midwest flavor, Heartland Steak Co. is perfect for any occasion. At Heartland Steak Co., you're getting premium Midwestern meats, hand-cut, hand-picked, and delivered straight to your door. With their Midwestern steak package, it includes USDA choice filet mignons, ribeyes, New York strip, and top of Iowa sirloin steaks to their Midwest pork package, which is stuffed with Iowa and American cut pork chops, their famous ham balls, and more. Ordering is easy at heartlandsteakco.com. And right now, when you spend $175 or more, you'll get 2 free 4-count steak patties with promo code PATTIES. Go and get your 8 free steak patties from heartlandsteakco.com. That's heartlandsteakco.com, promo code PATTIES. Taste the Heartland difference.
All right, baseball. The Giants, boy, they think they're going to score the rest of the year. They're in the bottom of the 4th, and they're trailing 1-0 at Cincinnati. Is it too much to get a run on the board? Boy, talk about bats going cold. When you look at the Giants, what an anemic lineup.
Just bunt.
Do anything. Get hit by a pitch.
Yes, throw your body in front of the ball.
I mean, good Lord, just get on base. Unbelievable, huh? Seriously.
do something.
Yeah, you have to do something. Get some freaking runs on the board, would you please? Unbelievable.
Is it that out of style to bunt these days? I thought the goal was to score runs, have people on base.
I mean, they did score 6 in the first game against Baltimore, only 2 against Baltimore in the last 2 games, 2 and 2. But wow, yeah, get on base. It's hard to score if you don't get on base. Would you agree with that?
I think it's pretty tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure how that works.
Yeah. Well, I know one thing: if you don't get to first base, you can't score.
Yeah, they can't award runs for something that's done wrong.
So you can't make a challenge to get runs.
Hey,
Oh my
have
gosh.
you seen some of these challenges that end up being unsuccessful, where it's 0.1 of an inch outside the box?
And you know what bothers me? And I shouldn't say it bothers me. It doesn't bother me. It is there are so many pitches that are being changed because of a minuscule, right? Like the smallest of margins, and it makes the umpires look bad. I actually feel bad for them in that sense. I really do.
Well, I think also the umpires are kind of getting their flowers at times too. When you have a challenge where you made the right call and it was within 0.1 of an inch from being the wrong call.
Yeah.
So it cuts both ways.
Yeah. I'm with you though. Some of these calls that have wow, how close are they, right?
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like anybody knocking the umpires for being wrong off of that small of a margin, get a life. You try to call a ball or a strike from their position to that accuracy.
With that velocity.
Right.
With the movement on the pitches these days. And everyone, by the way, each batter's got a different strike zone. Aaron Judge's strike zone is different than a lot of other strike zones. So you got to factor all of that into it. It's not an easy job.
Yeah, could you stand still? Seriously, could you stand still behind the plate with that ball looking like it's coming at your head to be able to make a call? I don't know that I could.
No. The amount of concussions that umpires have received. Well, Brian Knight, who was on with us, that was part of the reason why he had to retire.
That's right. Love Brian.
Because of injury to his neck and all of the blunt force that he received behind the plate. I was having dinner in Miami, I want to say roughly 3 years ago. May have been 4, but it was either 3 or 4 years. And I was having dinner with the umpiring crew, not Brian, with some other friends that I had met through him. As a matter of fact, one of the guys was the home plate umpire that was doing the game in Sacramento last night.
Oh, wow.
Dash is his nickname, but Mike. I was having dinner with him, and it was actually 2 of the other umpires on the crew, the one individual, the other. So it was me, Dash, and 2 others. And the umpire that I was talking to it was in his 50s, had been in the bigs a long time. And he was telling me that he was 1 concussion away from never umpiring again. I'm like, you were kidding me. He goes, nope, if I get dinged again, he goes, I think that's probably it. And I swear on my life here, I'm watching the game the next night. He gets hit in the middle of the game, could not continue.
Oh, my gosh.
And that was the last game that he ever worked. And we were talking about it the night before at dinner. I was like, oh, like I could not believe it.
That's
that we were
insane.
actually having that conversation at dinner, and he was behind the plate for the next game, and it was the last game he ever worked.
It's like that Final Destination stuff. Put it in the ether. Oh, that's awful.
Yeah. And I've had so many conversations with umpires. I know a lot of the current umpires. There was an umpire that was in last weekend that I was texting with about this system. He was in doing the A's and the Astros and was behind the plate for a couple of challenges. And it's just an interesting conversation now to have with these umpires about the implementation of the ABS and their view on it. So at the end of the day, umpires do not want to affect the outcome of a game. That's first and foremost. Okay. That's the last thing they want. They don't want to walk off the field going, man, I think my call cost this team the game. That's
Right.
the worst feeling in the world. They don't want that. So they're not anti, I guess what they are, they're anti the negative press that they're getting
Sure.
if they miss a call by a whisker. Like there needs to be a little degree of, wow, okay, that's not that bad of a missed call, right? Some of these calls, Ryan, you can barely see any space between the zone and the ball.
Right. You know how many people, or I should say umpires, referees, get into that field because they love the game that they're following? They just weren't good enough to play it at that level. It's their way of being part of it.
Yeah.
They don't
Well,
want
we
to
had
be.
Mike. Remember when we had Mike Pereira on, right?
Yeah.
That there's a shortage of officials in all sports now in this country because of the abuse that they take, even beginning in a little league field, right?
Oh,
They don't want to get into it.
Well, I've been on both sides of that. I've been that parent,
Yeah.
and
I've never been that parent.
well, I wasn't that parent. I was that brother, because my son really doesn't play sports.
Yeah.
But
I will tell you right now, in all of the games that I've ever gone to watch both my sons, I've never once yelled at an official. I've never once even raised my voice. I've never even talked about it in the stands. I don't go there. I've never been that guy. I never will. And if I someday have grandchildren and I'm old enough to, or excuse me, young enough to go still enjoy their sports, I won't be that individual. It's a turnoff for me.
yeah, no doubt. That's good. Teach that. Pay that forward.
I've always
For
tried
sure.
to teach that. I've always tried. I've always thought that youth sports is all about fun. It first of all, mostly sports is about fun. I always took that on to the field when I played in high school and college or club lacrosse after college. I'm playing it because I enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah, there is the competitive nature and winning is better than losing. But I had a lot of fun in games that I was losing. I didn't like go, gee, I wish I didn't play today. You know, it wasn't like fun where I was going to go out and celebrate, but it was still like, hey, I played something I loved. I just had 3 hours of doing something that I loved. Yeah, the game didn't go our way, but it didn't like take away from my enjoyment of participating and competing.
Yeah.
Like I didn't say to myself, gee, I wish I hadn't played today because we lost. I never once said that.
No, 100%. I mean, there were days that you knew were not going to be fun, but you knew the fun. Like we would, because our football team was really good in high school. The day after the section title game, like football game that night, we're in the gym like 6 a.m. catching into the basketball practice because they've already been playing for like a month.
Yep.
And we get ran like crazy, and you knew that wasn't going to be fun.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you, my first game ever, we couldn't get outside to practice because of the blizzard in Ohio that covered the fields to a point where the National Guard had to come in because that's how.
Oh my gosh.
No, the National Guard was brought in to Bowling Green because that's how bad the storm was. So I remember going in my first game, I'm starting on attack. I'm 18 years old, and we're playing at the Naval Academy in the Navy tournament. And I'm lining up to start the game, and the refs are talking to us, and I'm looking at the Navy boys, right? And I'm looking at their physical fitness, like you can just tell by looking at them. And I'm looking at the guy that's going to be guarding me, who is a senior, and I'm literally sitting there listening to the referees, and I'm saying to myself, I'm going to get killed today. That's what was going through my mind. And I think we lost 18-3, and I'm attack, and I also play on the extra man on the wing. And I think I had the ball on my stick for the whole game, maybe 4 times.
You're getting roughed up.
The ball was at the other end of the field most of the time. And when it was on our end, like I was getting manhandled. Yeah.
You were the mark. You were the scouting report. You're the guy they circled.
Well, I don't know about that. There was no scouting report back in 1978 of Grant Napear getting ready to play his first lacrosse game. Okay?
I found videos before of you in lacrosse. We've done that on If You Don't Like That. There's stuff there. You know what's super interesting before the internet and all that was how tape exchange used to work. with teams and colleges.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you would give each other your film.
That's right. And you would share with other teams.
Yes.
Yep. I thought it was a really cool system. It was just, I don't know how to put it, just for the love of the game stuff.
Yes, for the love of the game. You just hit it right on the head.
So
I'll tell you, when I used to play lacrosse in college, we didn't have scouting reports for the most part. We had a little bit. Like we had, when I say we had a scouting report, let me back up. Our scouting report was this. If we were on the extra man or the man down team, they knew some of the plays that they like to run on their man advantage. And so I remember we would have to simulate their plays and let our defense get used to. So I remember our coach going, okay, you need to be here. You need to be here. They're going to do this. They're going to do, but it wasn't that elaborate. It was a couple of things, right? And you knew who their best player was, and you knew that, but other than that, it wasn't anything even close to the way it is now. Not even remotely close.
So when I was in college, you would have full film of a game, and then you would have cut downs of each player and different parts, their twos, their threes, etc. But I never really played. And so there was a group of us that Coach Fish would choose to be running the film thing. And you would get so nervous if you were running that film thing because you didn't know when he was going to ask you to cut back. And, it'd be like somebody with an old school map directing somebody that's driving. And, oh my gosh, I used to get so nervous for that. Ryan, I said back.
At least he knew your name.
Oh, yeah. At least he got it right in film. Yeah.
Ryan.
Yep.
He was being around Steve Fisher, and when he was with an assistant coach for Sacramento, was a treasure. Just a great man.
I'll never forget. So there would always be team meal before a game, whether we were traveling or playing at Viejas, and he asked me to grab him a cookie, and I'm like, oh yeah, no problem, coach, I got you. And I came back down, and the coach's locker room was in between the team room and the players' locker room. And I go to drop his cookie off, and he's in the restroom, and he goes, Ryan, did you get me nuts? I want nuts, Ryan. And I'm like, Coach, restroom, my man, talking about cookies. But it was just like one of those classic moments,
Yeah.
Oh,
classic.
And I didn't get him nuts, so I had to go back and get a cookie with nuts.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Don't forget, Grant's Rant is coming up here in about 5 minutes or so. And then Sean Salisbury after that. We've got a lot going on in the world of sports. The baseball story, the A's tonight, and the Texas Rangers. Game 2 of that set. A's trying to bounce back after last night's 8-1 defeat, where they gave up 3 in the very first inning. All right, the Giants are in Cincinnati. We'll update you on that and the rest of the baseball story coming up after Sean Salisbury and Grant's Rant on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
If you've been waiting to buy a home, then you must be prepared to act soon for what's about to happen in the real estate market. The expected Fed rate cuts will renew the housing market demand. Buyers, like you, will flood the market. Bidding wars will happen, homes will sell quickly. You need to get your ducks in a row, and the best way to start is with an experienced broker to represent you. Village Financial's Spencer Grivenstein is that broker. Spencer's white glove service, boutique experience, one-stop shop method makes it so easy. Spencer will navigate you through the process from start to finish. He has extensive home listings to choose from throughout Northern California. His 30-year mortgage brokering experience will get you the best rates. He also has access to private money to help you expedite getting your offer accepted and closed. And don't forget that it makes sense to call Spence. Call now to schedule a free home buying consultation. 916-805-4868. 916-805-4868, or visit Spencer's Village Financial website at bfgloans.com.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The reaction was predictable. Big number, familiar name. Suddenly, the Las Vegas Raiders look like a team without a plan. Why would you spend on Kirk Cousins if you're about to draft the future? Well, 1 year, $20 million deal grabs the headlines, but it doesn't change the direction. If Fernando Mendoza is the pick, and all signs point that way, it's not a competition. It'll be a transition. Cousins isn't here to block anything. He's here to help absorb it and pass it on. It's not Atlanta. Cousins knows exactly what the situation is. He's 37 years of age. He can take the early hits, start if needed, keep the offense functioning while the rookie learns. Because throwing a young quarterback into chaos rarely works. Give him a buffer, somebody who's seen it, managed it, survived it. That's the difference with this situation. It's not about replacing the future. It's about protecting the future long enough for it to arrive. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. These days, everybody's searching for ways to save on insurance, scrolling comparison sites, digging through tips, chasing deals, but Liberty Mutual makes it simple. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance to save you money. And when you bundle, those savings really come through. It's insurance built for real people with a team that goes above and beyond to help you keep more of what matters. No hunting, no hassle, just confidence that your coverage customized with savings in mind. Start your quote at libertymutual.com. A personal question. Have you ever wiped with a piece of dry, single-ply toilet paper and wondered, is this as good as it gets? Well, it's not. It's a whole lot better thanks to the wet, extra-large cleaning power of Dude Wipes. They comfortably clean up whatever toilet paper leaves behind. You can make the trade of the season, switch from toilet paper, and start experiencing the confident clean of Dude Wipes. Available at Amazon and at major retailers nationwide. Dude Wipes, best clean, pants down.
Grant Napear is back every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6. This is Fox Sports, KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
It's time for Grant.
Well, I know that the Masters ended on Sunday because I watched it, and I watched the not live, the Sergio Garcia eruption on the second hole, where he was then given a code of conduct warning about 30 minutes later on the fourth hole. Today, Garcia, former champ, issued an apology. I want to apologize for my actions on Sunday at the Masters. I respect and value everything that the Masters and Augusta National Golf Club is to golf. I regret the way I acted. It has no place in our game. It doesn't reflect the respect and appreciation I have for the Masters, the patrons, tournament officials, and golf fans around the world. That was via social media. Why'd you wait until today? You didn't know on Sunday night that was the case? You didn't know yesterday? You got to wait until today to apologize? Too late. All right? Too late. Somebody got in your ear. Somebody said, this is the best way to do it. Why are you waiting until today to apologize? All right. You were out of it early in the afternoon on Sunday. You had a lot of time to reflect. Your press conference at the end of the day was an embarrassment. By the time you got on your plane and landed, you should have known, you know what, I need to apologize. Don't wait until today to apologize at the Masters that concluded on Sunday, Sergio. Too late. I'm sorry. Too late. An apology is better than no apology, but too freaking late. And that's my rant for today. Each and every Tuesday, we love talking with Sean Salisbury right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Sean, how are you?
I'm doing great, Grant. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. What was your reaction today when you saw the news that Diana Rossini resigned from The Athletic?
Well, I think the first thought of mine was she's guilty.
Exactly.
Now, whether it's right or wrong, I think that's the first thought is, she didn't allow it to continue on. And I understand there's a respect that goes to her company and the rest of it. But if you're innocent, you fight it. And maybe she still will. But I guess for me also, I wonder, well, where were her friends that were supposed to be there? Where were her, the support system that was full? I didn't see any, Grant. I don't know where. I mean, on social media, you'll see reporters that'll say stuff that she's a good reporter. I don't know her. I've never worked with her, never done an interview with her. But my initial thought was, well, she's made a mistake that will damage her credibility forever. And anybody that's been through it or rock bottom, whatever it is in our business, understands the trudge back and how hard it is. Good on her that she did it for her company, but that was my initial thought. And it was bad visuals. And in her business, I'm not a journalist, even though I got a broadcast journalism degree. When I'm on television or a podcast or on with you, I'm an entertainer, unless I'm breaking news or you're breaking news that we have inside. Then you shift to a journalist. But when I'm talking with you, we're having fun talking about sports. But in her position, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, credibility is everything. That's, matter of fact, that's the only thing you got.
Yep.
Aside from good credibility. And when something like that happens, and the optics were awful, I don't know how deep it went. I really don't, Grant, but the optics were bad. I can tell you this. I know Arizona well, and I know that area in Sedona well. I don't know many people that leave and go up there that aren't either all girls wellness trip or a romantic interlude. And that's just my opinion. I have no inside information. Bad optics. I think that, and there's been some smoke that's been surrounding other situations with her. I hope she finds her way through it. This is probably her journalism rock bottom. But you can start to see that there's a reason why she stepped aside. And Vrabel will go on and coach. Females have it so tough in this business anyway that I would imagine others are like, gosh, because they're now going to have to overcome her mistake. I know that sounds crazy, but anytime something goes up, they just are. And women have fought so hard. I mean, I think about Holly Rowe, and I worked with Susie Kalber and Linda Cohn, and you've worked around a lot of great ones, Grant, that were spectacular at their job. And it's unfortunate, and they fought through a lot. So she's going to have to repair, and she's going to have to, even then, to get the credibility back. And it sucks, but when you make that, and I don't mean this in a smart ass way, make that bed, you gotta sleep in it, or you rob Peter, you got to pay Paul. And when you're a journalist, you just can't have every time now somebody would question, well, how'd you get the information? And then wives now will say, you're not interviewing with her. Husbands will be coaches a little nervous. Even if it's not necessary, that's the optics and that's the reality of this position. So my first thought was, when I saw it, I know people don't go up to that part of that area, and that photographer wasn't there by chance. I can guarantee you that. You and I both know that.
Amen to that. Sean, let's talk about the upcoming NFL draft. And the draft this year is going to start with the second pick, because I don't think there's any doubt the Raiders are going to take Mendoza with the number 1 pick. Jeremiah Love, and the fact that we keep hearing about the running back position in the NFL has been devalued somewhat, blah, 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 blah. How do you evaluate him? And if you were in the need of a running back, would you take a running back, let's say if you had a top 5 pick?
Grant, what's interesting, if you're talking to sit with about 25 quarterbacks, or all of us quarterbacks in a room, and say, hey, man, should we devalue the running back? Every single one of us is going to turn and slap you upside your head and say, devalue, we need that dude, right? So from the quarterback standpoint, we look at you like you're an idiot. Anybody that says, well, we devalue them, because they are so valuable. They just are. But in the
all right, would you rather have a valuable left tackle or a valuable running back? If you're a quarterback, and let's have some fun here, and there's a stud left tackle on the board and a stud running back, as a quarterback, who do you want?
Well, Barry Sanders or Anthony Munoz? Well, I love Barry. I'll take Munoz because the running back makes my game easier. The left tackle makes my life easier. So I'm taking, and I played with some great ones. Unfortunately, the quarterback wasn't as good as the left tackle in my case. So I'll always take that guy. Grant, my thoughts on this, and it is true as a quarterback, we know that. And over the last couple of years, think about Grant, and we had him, think about 3 or 4 years ago and maybe the last decade plus where we had devalued him. But think about what Barkley did, what McCaffrey's done, Derrick Henry. We have started to realize that you can't devalue it, although their salaries are never going to match receivers and tackles. Because you know why? Because we've had too much evidence that a third, fifth, a guy you can, if you have a good scheme and good offensive line, I'm not saying anybody can do it, but you can cover up with 2 or 3 guys without having one spectacular one and still win. It's been proven. I don't think you can win a championship with a subpar offensive line. You can't win it with subpar edge rushers. You can't win it with a subpar interior. You can't win it with a subpar quarterback unless everything else is dominant and that quarterback doesn't turn it over. So while I get the money devalue, I could tell you they're needed because when there's 4 minutes to go in a game and you got a 6-point lead, they are as valuable as you get because you're going to hand it to them 15 times. I watched this do it with Marcus Allen at FC. I see how that happens. And you saw, think about last year's Super Bowl. And talk about devalue. Kenneth Walker played great football. Was a big reason why they won, to control the game, even though their defense in Seattle was great. And you can turn around and up and let him go, and he's going to be in Kansas City, and they're going to find somebody. I mean, they're going to use their back that was hurt in the first place, Charbonnet. So that's how this position works. With Love, Grant, I usually frown on first 5 picks running backs, but if I had studied, I mean, I have, but if I'm drafting and go through the process and say, does he enhance and make everybody better, and is he a championship back? Does he give me what that guy? But when I say that guy, I'm talking about Saquon Barkley production. I don't have a problem drafting him. I don't usually lean to it now, and it's got to be that guy. He's got to be special. There can't be a lot of ifs because if there's 3 or 4 backs, then if you're saying there's 3 or 4 backs, you can't draft that guy that high. But he feels different to me. He feels like if you've got a really good quarterback and your defense is really good, and the one thing missing is a dominant 30 carry, 3 down back that's a monster. Yes, but I don't see him going in the first 5 picks. Now, somebody may say, you know what? He changes our whole franchise. I get it. But for me, edge rusher, there's a lot of good ones at that position. There's a couple receivers, but I think Love is special. And hell, if the Chiefs hadn't have got Kenneth Walker, Grant, at the 9th pick, I think they're 9th. I think they would have taken him. I do.
You think he's too high for a team like Tennessee at 4? I'm looking at their team. I'm looking at what they're building. I'm looking at Cam Ward entering a second year. You don't think that's a good fit for Tennessee at number 4? You think it's too much?
Do.
Okay.
No, I think it's high. But going back to it, and here's Grant. When I come to this with you and I are sitting there, and you're the head coach and I'm the GM. I would have you ask me this, and I'd ask you this. I'd say all the evaluation we've done, I've watched that kid dominate at Notre Dame, and I think he is special. But it's got to be, the rest of your roster, or you have to have a young quarterback like them. That the greatest thing for Cam Ward right now would be to have that compliment. Look what Derrick Henry did for Ryan Tannehill when he was there. But if you're going to draft him at 4, I would ask you as my coach, I'd say, do you like him or love him? If you say you like him, I can't take him there. You turn around and ask me, do you like him or love him? If I say I like him, I can't. But if we say we love him, you don't worry about social media. You don't worry about, well, what about that's too high. It's some guy like me and you on some draft show or some TV show telling the general manager, coach, you shouldn't draft him. Well, you're on the outside looking in. If I love him, I'm taking him. That's my final question I always ask. Do I like him or love him? If I love him, I'm taking him. So I think for Tennessee, since they're not in a hurry, you'd like to win now. Coaches are in a hurry. They're not winning a division next year. So with this and another draft as you build it, you got to also ask yourself, well, do guys like this come along once every 5 years? And if you think that's the case, I have no problem taking him because I do think he's special. But for me, if it was between a left tackle for Cam Ward and he was going to be a 12-year starter or the running back, I'd probably still take the tackle. But another step to this is Tennessee needs to sell tickets. They need to have a splash guy. And the one thing about he walks off the bus after the draft, you're penciling him in and you're starting him the second he shows up. So he's different. And I think he's in that different class coming out of school like a Barkley or McCaffrey were.
Sean, you love baseball. You played baseball. You're a big baseball fan. After 3 weeks and the new ABS challenge system, you like it or no?
I do, Grant, because you get it right. I still have a hard time with. I'm old school on the human error. I've toggled back and forth. Will in the embarrassment of umpire. But if the umpires will say you can't get them all right, but I do. There's a part of me that feels like you're making it, as we continue to move forward, impossible for umpires to be graded fairly. Does that make sense on their calls?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
And maybe that doesn't make sense, but I just always, I don't like to embarrass people. Listen, I don't care what they say. Grant, if somebody constantly is telling and is getting the amount, and I think the amount of reviews helps, that it's not, you can't do it every friggin' pitch, and the umpire's like, well then, take us from behind here and just do it all the time. But I want to get it right, but I am also, I guess, a little old school that who do you favor? Well, it favors a pitcher one time, but it also favors it favors both, because if it's outside the strike zone, you want it right. But the emotional, the wear emotion on my sleeve says I don't like it, but in truth, Grant, I've shifted. I used to thought of it, I used to hate it. For me, getting it right's most important, but it also makes you wonder, are these umpires, the timid part, or it's like when we got instant replay, Grant, in football. My initial thought was referees become afraid to be aggressive to make the right call. I don't want hesitation in the call. I think it works, Grant, but you got to have those special umpires that say, you know what, if I miss a couple, I'm not going to let it affect me. We got to get it right. But it also, on the other side, forces umpires to even be better at their craft because they don't want to be embarrassed. There's that part of, I got to study more. I got to make sure I understand a command of the strike zone. And a strike's a strike's a strike. It's not old school. Grant, you grew up and I grew up in the National League. If it's a high strike zone, or the American League, it's a low strike zone. You know what I'm talking about. A strike zone's a strike zone. And so that part. But I never like to humiliate or embarrass anybody that's trying to do their job, because in truth, the majority of time, most of them, they do a job that you and I would never even want to try to tackle because it's too difficult. 100 mile an hour fastball and Mason Miller, and then bend a 90 mile an hour, slide piece. And you're saying, how do these guys get it right 94% of the time? Our expectations are ridiculous of these umpires, but getting it right's the most important. And I think that has to happen.
Sean, we don't talk a lot of hockey, but I'm really big on the way that sport conducts itself and the respect that they have for one another, whether it's the traditional handshake after a brutal 7-game series. We saw it again last night. Jonathan Quick, who is retiring, played his last game last night, done with the New York Rangers. They were playing the Florida Panthers. Every member of the Panthers stayed on the ice after the game and waited for Quick to come back onto the ice after the game so that they could give him a special shake of the hands and congratulations. We saw it last year with Marc-Andre Fleury. We've seen it repeatedly. There's something about that sport that is so unique that I don't think you would see something like that in other sports.
And what a career and player Quick has been.
Oh my gosh.
What a career.
Oh, yes.
You know what, Grant? It feels like Jonathan Quick's been playing for 35 years, doesn't it? But that's,
yes, it does.
It does. And I think a lot of times with that position, we always just like, damn, when's Grant here? Is he going to retire? Yeah, he's retired for 20 years.
Right.
So, Grant, it's my favorite. And I sincerely mean this. It's not, I don't say it as it's the only season ticket I'll buy right now. If I had a team in Houston, it is the only one. I think it is the best postseason overall. I love the drama of baseball, how it was like when Vin Scully, when he was the slow moving in between each pitch, the drama. But for a fast moving, great sport, and I'm talking about from first round to in the NBA. Listen, the first round, the best team's going to win, and in a long series. But hockey, if your goaltender's not standing on his head, you can be the favorite by a long shot, and he has 3 bad games. You're done.
Yeah.
Because the other goaltender's capable for 3 or 4 games of standing on his head. There is no doubt in my mind it's the best postseason overall. And you are 100% correct. What I would do, and I mean this a little bit hyperbolic, all the other sports should go into a room. They should run a tape to their players, to coaches, to referees, to management, and say, and run like a 20-minute, when we cut up tape of moments in hockey, and show you this is how to do it. Yep. This is how you stand. This is how you greet the other team. Even after you beat each other's brains in, you line up on the ice and you go shake the other hand. You lose just as good as you win. And then if you're pissed about it, you go in and break your hockey stick against your own locker inside, and you play hurt. Yep. I don't mean play injured. You go in, you get a stitch. That doesn't mean the game's over. You're taping up, come back playing. There is everything about hockey, from the toughness, the way it's the way it's refereed, the way we let them fight a little bit. They hit the ice, they get it out of them, and then we hop on them, let them, they get back up and do it again. And then those two guys in the off season that just beat the crap out of each other don't hold grudges. They go and have a beer with each other, and then they'll fight again the following season. Everything about hockey, the way everything. I'm telling you from start to finish, the physicality, the gentleman part of it, what you're talking about with Jonathan Quick last night about the mad respect. Those guys aren't leaving the ice and saying, "Oh, I'll call him on the phone." They're making sure no matter what the result of the game was, you come back and lay down the foundation of respect. They do it in the Olympics. They do it. You'll throw the gloves down before the second the puck's drop, and everybody will beat on each other. But everything about hockey is exactly what the example and the way they do it. And it's not soft. I mean, by doing that, you're not admitting you're soft. That's just respect, because those dudes, you want them on your side. There is no sport, and it's not close, who does it like the NHL or any hockey group at any point in time.
I'll tell you, the NBA needs to look at them more closely, because all that we hear this year with the NBA is tanking, load management, who's playing, who's not playing. All of those terms are foreign in hockey, and that's another reason why I love hockey so much.
Yep. And Grant, real quick about that, I believe, and I know that there's a lot of hockey players. You and I both know a lot of them that love watching basketball. But I got news for you. If you want both extremes of how to do it and one how not to, those two, that's your extreme. That doesn't mean there's not talent in the NBA, but that's your extreme of how to do it. There's respect and talent, but this is the NBA, as much as anybody, needs to take a look and say, oh, that's how it's supposed to be done. There is absolutely no doubt about it. The NHL never needs a respectful facelift. I'll tell you who does. They need Botox times 1,000 when it comes to facelifts in the NBA. Yeah. They really do.
Last thing, you've talked about this in the past, but I want to circle back to it. You've talked about the joined at the hip have to be completely in line with one another between a general manager and a coach. And if you're not, good luck. I just don't understand why too many franchises get that part of trying to build a franchise wrong.
Agreed. I would never hire the coach if I was, how sometimes they'll both get fired and then they'll go out and get a coach and then they haven't hired the GM yet. I've never understood that. I just haven't.
Me neither.
If I'm going to be your GM, you're the owner, and you empower me, you've got to trust me. It's like drafting a quarterback. If I'm drafting a quarterback, I got to trust that he's going to be great. It doesn't always work that way. When I'm hiring a GM and a coach, I can't be the owner, trump the GM. Why hire him? If that's the case, you immediately are stripped of your power the second the whole group knows who the coach is, and you kind of come and say, oh, well, this is cool. You have now. There are times when the coach is really good. The general manager doesn't get it. You want to keep the coach there. But then I'd flip it, Grant. I would want the president of operations or the owner to visit with the coach and say, what kind of guy? I'm not talking about his buddy. What kind of guy? Because I want that coach and those guys to be in step. I don't mean be in step to where they just agree to agree, but I do want the respect of, we have the same philosophy. We're able to speak up and criticize and tell you how we feel, but we're back on the same page. So we have the same blueprint, that we have the same, when you go and give a presentation, that the presentation that you look over at him, he's nodding his head saying, yes, that you have put the presentation together. I need, you've got to define roles, Grant. And part of the GM's role when you hire him is, you're my football, you're hiring a head coach. Now, approval and money goes to the owner and the president, but I've got to have them in step, because if they're not, it may, for the public or on the cosmetic side, it'll look like they are. But you want to see an organization crumble? Find a general manager that didn't believe in the coach, or a coach that didn't believe in the general manager,
Amen.
but they're fooling you. And it will crumble in a hurry. If there's anything else, it's kind of like a quarterback and his line got to be on the same page, or the quarterback and his head coach got to be in step, or coordinator. If the general manager and the head coach are not in step, it doesn't mean you can't criticize, but if they're not in step, that organization will crumble. That's crumbled organizations faster than anything, because pride gets in the way. And if both are successful, everybody will get paid. If one's successful and one doesn't like the other or respect the other, the organization will be just like when you draft a quarterback and he doesn't pan out. It sets the organization back 5-10 years.
Appreciate you, buddy. You have a great week. Do it again next Tuesday.
You
Take
too.
care.
Look forward to it, my man. Thank you.
All right, good stuff, Sean Salisbury. Village Financial Group, speaking of good stuff, yes, indeed. They are really good at what they do when it comes to your real estate needs. And I've talked about Spence every day since I started doing this show back in September at Village Financial Group, broker owner of this family-owned local business since the year 2000. He is awesome at what he does. And if you're in the market in 2026, buying a home, selling a home, maybe a home equity line of credit, consider Village Financial Group. Look at it kind of like a white glove boutique shop experience, where Spence will guide you from the very start to the finish and everything in between. Give him a call or text Spence. The number 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. And if you just want to look at all of the available listings, go to their website, vfgloans.com. That's vfgloans.com. And again, you'll find thousands of available listings for purchase. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Your phone calls, messages. When we come back, we'll update you on the baseball scoreboard. The NBA play-in is underway. We'll update you on that as well. All of that right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Spring is here, so check your tires. When your vehicle needs the best, get Firestone Firehawks. They are built on years of racing heritage and are designed with the latest in tire technology. This month, save $100 on a set of 4 Firestone Firehawks. They provide the confidence and comfort you've come to expect from Firestone. Race into Expert Tires and Brakes, 5810 Auburn Boulevard, and find the set that's right for you. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone. Available at Expert Tires and Brakes, 5810 Auburn Boulevard.
Building friendships and bonding with family. It's what people experience during a day out at Golden State Shooting Center. Only moments outside of Sacramento. Golden State Shooting Center is a favorite for those who love the sport of trap, skeet, and sporting clay target shooting. It's also where the California Youth Sport Shooting Association trains and competes. New teams are being formed, and if you've got a son or daughter in high school, they can compete for college scholarships. Learn more at goldenstateshootingcenter.com or call 916-539-8544.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation, so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
All right, they're going to the 7th in Cincinnati, and the Reds are leading by the score of 2-1. A's and Rangers in about an hour from now from West Sac, game 2 of that 4-game set. NBA play-in tournament is underway, and the Charlotte Hornets are playing at home against Miami, 2-point game with 6 minutes left to go in the second. Miami 41-39, and you have Portland and Phoenix after that. I don't know if you saw the news, Ryan, and we'll get to you in a moment, coming out of the Warriors camp, but Steph Curry is one of 3 players that will be on a minutes restriction in their game against the Clippers, the other being Kristaps Porzingis and also Al Horford. So it's not a big deal. They'll all play fewer than 40 minutes. I mean, they're not going anywhere anyway. You know, I don't know if they're going to even make it. I would say they're not. But anyway, they're on a minutes restriction. All right, let's get to some phone calls. And why don't we bring in Lynn? Lynn, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Grant, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Lynn. What's up?
I've been listening to some of the text on this athletic story. I can't believe the people, what they're saying to you. This is a huge story. I'll tell you why. You have a reporter, you have a head coach where she can get information from. That's the story. Regardless of what is happening, that is the story. So let's say we reversed it. It's a male reporter with a women executive of an NFL team that has inside information. It's the same thing, Grant.
Yep.
It's
same
the
thing.
Relationship of the reporter and the person who is with them at this location. That is the story to it. And I always appreciate Sean when he comes in. I love that question you asked him, Grant. Would you rather have a running back or a left tackle? That was classic, and he knows that left tackle was the right one. And it's so important to have a good running back, but man, that left tackle is so important to have on every team. That's one of the most important positions out there. Grant, great show as always.
Thank you, buddy.
Take care.
You too, Lynn. Appreciate the phone call. 916-779-0929. Again, that's 916-779-0929. Reminder, tonight at 7 o'clock, I will be over on YouTube and X with my Open Forum Tuesday show. So again, join me tonight at 7 o'clock over on YouTube and X. And then tomorrow at 10 a.m., General Manager Scott Perry and Kings head coach Doug Christie will have a press conference, and Ryan will be out at the practice facility, and we'll have all of the sound from that tomorrow at 3 o'clock. All right, let's move on. Let's get to Steve in Vacaville. Steve, welcome to the show today. How are you?
Hi, Grant. Thanks for taking my call. I just want to comment on the Sergio Garcia behavior debacle he had over the weekend. In hearing his apology, in my mind, it's a hollow apology that means nothing. And the reason is because he was just speaking words, and words mean nothing unless it's backed by action. And it would have been a lot more satisfying to hear him say, "Hey, beating the tee box, and then my driver was wrong, and it wasn't consistent with the decorum and the rules and the etiquette here at the Masters, and I sincerely apologize for that. And I'm going to make sure that never happens again by doing the following." And whether that's going in anger management, whether that's just self-imposing a ban on himself for a little while, or saying, if I ever do this again, I won't come back for X number of years or at all. That's the kind of thing I think that would make that apology a lot less hollow, number one. Number two, it's going to be very interesting to see if the Masters tournament, how they react. Now, they're not ones for doing, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but they're not one for doing press releases or doing anything. What they're going to do if they get to him is they quietly will not invite him back for a couple of years. Now, since he's a past champion, he gets a, quote, automatic invitation, but that invitation has its limits. It happened to Tom Weiskopf in 1980. He withdrew mid-round, citing boredom and frustration. And guess what? He was not invited back for several years after that. So they've got their way of doing things. It's be very interesting next spring to see what's going to happen and if he's going to return to it. And but
Very interesting.
the only
Now
other
he's
comment
got
I
an
wanted-
exemption. I don't know if the exemption that he has can be superseded by the Masters saying you're not invited back. I'd have to look into that. What bothers me, Steve, is the fact that he waited until Tuesday. Where was this on Sunday night or yesterday? Why are we waiting 48 hours after the event's over? That bothers me somewhat.
Yeah, I'm a little torn on that. I mean, because I could see if he didn't do it Sunday night because he's going to let Rory have his day in the sun. He doesn't want to eclipse
Fair enough.
Rory's.
Fair enough.
Maybe even Monday. So I don't know. That's a tough one. But I do think that, which was just as egregious as the beat down of the tee box and his driver, was just the smug attitude with the press, just trying to do their job. And just standing there the way he was handling himself, I thought did not do the Masters very well. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here, but I think the Masters can do whatever the heck they want.
Yeah,
I mean, they
maybe
they didn't invite sitting presidents to the club, for God's sake. So I don't think they're obliged to do anything. But it'll be interesting to see what your research turns
interesting
up.
comments. I'm curious. Did you watch the whole round on Sunday?
Most of it. Most of it, yeah. What were you?
Well, the reason why I was wondering, I felt in retrospect when I look back at that event that Justin Rose, even though last year he had a chance to win it in overtime, the sudden death playoff. I shouldn't say overtime, sudden death, the playoff. I thought he had a better chance of winning it on Sunday. He had so many opportunities on that back nine. And when you look at the final round, and we know about Scottie
100%.
Scheffler, but Justin Rose, gosh, he's got to be just going, wow, you're not going to have a better chance than you had on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, you got to feel sorry for the guy. Well, you feel sorry for a multimillionaire, but yeah, you do on some level because he had the chance to be the second oldest to take the championship. I feel like he's a really good guy, and I think a lot of the players think he's a good guy, and just some putts here and there. And the same thing for Scheffler had an incredible charge, so you can't take anything away from his Sunday. But that last putt that was coming down that was just an inch or two outside the cup, on the downhill side. It's just the subtleties of those greens. It would be, I've been there, and I think you've been there as well. And it's amazing how hilly it is. But one of the things that's really tough to pick up is just the levels within the levels, the very subtle, just slight ups and downs and ticks that just make. I'm not sure unless you're way below the hole in certain places. There's no such thing as a straight putt on that track. But yeah, it was.
I can tell you, walking the golf course and being there in 2018, to see it in person, you get a whole different perspective of the greens. It's incredible, just incredible.
It really is.
Thank you,
unbelievable place.
Yep, appreciate it.
Take care, Grant.
Enjoy your
Bye-bye.
evening. Take care. That gets us to the break, and that means we only have one segment left. Wow, what a quick show. Update you, the Giants went quickly in the seventh. It's now the bottom of the seventh, and they're trailing 2-1. We'll wrap up the show when we come back right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Homeowners, if you have an electrical project you need done, then you need the good dudes at Gabrudes. Family owned and operated for 30 years, Jay Gabrud and his team are the area's recognized experts for everything electrical, from the very basic like repairs, lighting upgrades, and whole house fans to the biggies, panel replacements, EV stations, and backup generators. Gabrud's does it all and does it right the first time. They're actually the guys their competition recommends. Gabrud's, expert, 5-star service, and always transparent, honest prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Visit Gabrud's.com or call 24/7 and speak with a real live person. Gabrud's, Gubruds.
Call the good dudes at Gabruds, Gubruds, Gabruds.com.
Hey, folks, are you or do you know a veteran or family in need of a heating or air conditioning unit? I've got awesome news because DAS Mechanical is giving back by donating one to a veteran or family in need. Owner Nick Delancey and his family, hey, they're always looking to give back to the community, and they're excited to help out a veteran or family in need. Just go to dasmechanical.org and nominate yourself or, hey, someone you know to receive one. And yes, it comes with installation. It's very simple to enter. Go to dasmechanical.org, click the 2026 HVAC system donation tab. Fill out a very short 6-question nomination form. Nominate now at dasmechanical.org. DAS Mechanical, family owned, locally owned, HVAC experts, serving Sacramento for years. For all of your HVAC needs, DAS will exceed your expectations. Once again, that's dasmechanical.org.
You love your land. During Kubota Orange Days, you'll love all the great deals. With versatile compact tractors, professional-grade mowers, and durable utility vehicles, Kubota equipment can help you turn dream projects into reality. Kubota Orange Days is here, and so are the best deals of the year. Now through June 30th, get select compact tractors with 0% financing available or save up to $5,500. Sale ends soon. Go to KubotaOrangeDays.com or stop by your local dealer for more information.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Final segment on this Tuesday. I'll be over on YouTube and X in an hour and 20 minutes. Hope you can join me for my Open Forum Tuesday. Almost halftime with Miami and Charlotte. It is 54-52 Miami, but a little drama in this game, Rhino.
Yeah, a little drama. Hotly contested. LaMelo Ball, Grant, was on his way down to the floor, and Bam Adebayo was going to save the ball and leaping. It looked like Lonzo may not have clipped one of his legs, pulled one of his legs, and Bam landed poorly. He is questionable to return with a lower back injury, and there's been a lot of questions about whether or not or why that play was not reviewed. It was because it happened during a live ball situation. Another play went on at the other end of the court, so it could not subsequently be reviewed.
Okay, it is at the half now. It is 54-52 the Heat. If they don't have Bam Adebayo, I don't think there's any way they can win this game.
You know, I think they could win this one. I don't think they would be able to do much going past that.
Okay.
I think it would be a big ask without Bam, but they're playing inspired right now. I'll tell you that. They feel like they got a little bit jaded on that call. They felt like it was a dirty play by
And they have a great
LaMelo.
coach in Eric Spoelstra. Great coach.
So they're coming together. It's a good game. So we'll stay tuned to that. As for your question about Steph Curry and the Warriors on minutes restrictions, talk about a big nothing burger. That's like me saying I'm on a pizza restriction tonight, Grant. I can't eat the whole pie. 40 minutes? Come on.
I know. Who do you think is going to win tonight's Portland-Phoenix game?
Phoenix will win. Portland's going to give them a run, though. I think it's not going to be as quick as Phoenix would like to play. I think it's going to be a little more low scoring. I would go less than on the points in that one, but Phoenix will ultimately prevail.
All right. In the first half, with your prize pick part of your night that you picked in this game, how are we looking so far?
We're looking really good, actually. LaMelo is above expectations. Tyler Hero, a little bit slow right now, but he only needs more than 1.5 threes, so that can happen at any time. But we're looking really good.
Oh, good. All right. You can give me a call if you want at 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. A's and Rangers in an hour coming up from West Sacramento. We'll talk more about that over on YouTube and X tonight, coming up at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow, Olden Polynice is going to be on. And then, Rhino, you're going to be heading out to the practice facility in the morning, correct?
Yes, I will. Be there, taking things in, getting some audio, and probably asking a question or two.
Yeah. I'm wondering what the theme will be tomorrow. You think it's just, the questions are going to be about Doug. He'll be at the press conference too. I'm sure there will be questions as it pertains to him coming back. I'm sure there will be questions about Sabonis. I'm sure there'll be, personnel questions. It'll be interesting to see how that all goes.
Yeah, I think definitely Sabonis will come up. I think the theme from the media is likely going to be the young guys, right? I think that's going to be a big question about how they finish the season, although the win-loss does not look right. They played pretty well, all things considered. And I think really a fair question to Scott Perry would be the future of Russell Westbrook. Now that Russ has said, yeah, I would love to come back if they would have me, because to me, that feels something that, as you've laid out, I agree with you 100%. That changes how I feel about next season. Nothing against Russ. Russ, if you're listening, not you, my man. It's the management of you. So I wonder what that's going to be. I might ask
Well,
Scott
if it's not asked, I know you'll ask it. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to hearing what Scott Perry has to say.
Yep, I will. I just got another look at that Bam play. So what happened was Bam's foot was trapped. One foot was trapped a little bit under LaMelo. And as he's falling back, it kind of looks like LaMelo's putting his arm up. Now, whether he put his arm up to intentionally grab Bam's leg or he's putting his arm up for a call, that will be shaken out. But yeah, that was a tough play for Bam.
You know, it's also interesting because of what happened last year in the playoffs, right? It was overshadowed by the injuries. And here we are, and we're not even to the half, and an all-star, a significant player, might not be able to return, right?
Yeah.
It's not a good start to the playoffs if you're looking at it from that aspect.
Very true. Hey, you know that I think you'll remember this name, Davion Mitchell.
Yeah, I do remember him.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, he's still playing basketball right now.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Davion Mitchell, he was sent away from the Sacramento Kings in his third year.
Yeah,
he was, yes, and he now is a starter in the NBA, I believe, for a team that that's right, the Miami Heat, correct? And Davion Mitchell is a guy that starts every game, and in that first half, played 19 minutes, had 10 points, and 5 assists, and 2 steals. Yeah.
He was a sweetener to dump salary, if you want to be real about it, to Toronto, because you got Jalen McDaniels back, who made it, and I love him, by the way. He's an Aztec, good dude, but he made it one practice in training camp and was cut.
Come on.
Yeah. So.
We'll be looking at another player that's not good enough to play for the Sacramento Kings coming up this weekend by the name of Keon Ellis. He's in the playoffs too. Do you know that?
I do.
He's a very valuable player on that team now. He plays a lot, whether he starts or comes off the bench. He plays sizable minutes and is very much a part of what they're doing now.
You know what I think will be very interesting is the reaction from the Sacramento fan base to success for Keon in the playoffs versus success for De'Aaron in the playoffs.
Well, I think that people will be genuinely thrilled for Keon Ellis.
100%. And I think others with De'Aaron, it's not that they're not going to be happy for him. It's going to turn into that sourness, right? Like, oh, he's doing well. I don't think there'll be any of that for Keon.
You still picking the Spurs to win it all?
I am. Yes. It just feels like that year. It does. I like
They have
it.
enough experience. Are they ready to do that? That's a heck of a jump.
It's a big jump, but Wemby's a heck of a talent. Usually you don't make that jump, and usually you don't get a guy like Wemby. And I think if I had to put my finals prediction in right now, it's Spurs and Celtics.
Yeah, I'm going to say, just based on history, the Spurs are not going to make that big of a jump in 1 year. I'm just going to go based on history.
Fair enough.
So for that reason, I'm going to pick Oklahoma City and Boston in the NBA Finals.
All right.
But that's the only reason. I know the Spurs beat OKC 4 out of 5 games this year, but I'm thinking that their experience is going to hurt them a little bit, okay, for the playoffs. I just think it's, again, I'm going by history here, all right? I'm going by history. And here's the other thing. I could see the Spurs not even making it to play Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals. I could see them losing to Denver in the second round.
I don't disagree with you. I know.
I could see that happening.
Oh, I heard you wrong. Sorry, I was doing two things at once. You could see San Antonio not making it?
I could see Denver beating San Antonio when they play in the second round, assuming that's what's going to happen, and I think it will happen.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I would be lying to you if I said I couldn't see it. I think San Antonio outpaces Denver, but that Murray-Jokic connection.
Yeah. And Gordon.
Tough. Yeah. Well, Gordon.
Well, that's true. You've got to wait on him.
Yeah, exactly.
The Giants do not score in their half of the 8th. They go to the bottom of the 8th, so they've only got 3 outs left to try to get another run on the board, trailing Cincinnati 2-1. The Yankees are getting clobbered in the Bronx 6-0. That was some drama last night, wasn't it, with Aaron Judge and Mike Trout going back and forth with their home runs?
Yeah, especially on that stage.
Yeah.
Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, I think some of those balls are still in the air. I saw a couple of them show up on the flight radar outside of LaGuardia Airport.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Zach Campbell went and got those. So, yeah.
Good job there by you.
Yeah. By the way, if you want a bonus Prize Picks, remember, use the code Rhino50 to get $50 in
Yeah, we
free
want
play.
a bonus.
I'm going Davion Mitchell with a more than 15.5 points for the rest of the game. So he already has 10.
Yeah,
so he
I think that's good.
Needs to score 6. And I'm going Con Knipple more than 13.5 points, rebounds, and assists in the second half.
Really? Okay. So we're not done yet. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm taking the second half line on
I love it.
Knipple because Charlotte will not win this game if he doesn't get involved.
Yeah,
So
he only had 6 points on 9 shots in that first half.
So he's going to get going. He's a shooter. So there's your
Okay.
bonus.
Bonus. We love bonuses.
$20 pays you $58. So
Wow.
go
Is
go
that
hit
right?
that. Go hit that with me right now. Let's have some fun.
All right. Well, I'm happy to hear that. I'm thinking that we'll be talking about the success of that tomorrow.
Sure hope so.
The game bottom of the 8th in Cincinnati. The A's are going to be playing in a little bit, and they are still at intermission. We'll wait and see about Bam Adebayo when they come out to start the second half, which has not yet occurred. They're still in the break, 54-52 in favor of Miami in a low-scoring first half there from Charlotte. So, and again, coming up after this game, you have Portland and Phoenix. So these games now, all right, to find out who will be the 7th and 8th seeds after these play-in games.
Bam was not moving well as he was coming off the court. So we'll see if they can patch him up, get him going for that second half, as you said.
So here's how it works. When 9 plays 10, the losers is done for the year. Their season is over, okay? And then the winner plays the loser of 7 and 8. That's how that works.
Got to win 2 if
Yes.
you're 9 or 10.
Yeah, got to win 2. Absolutely. And you said Phoenix tonight over Portland?
Mm-hmm. I do like
right.
Phoenix over Portland. I did
Said
take
Grant. Go ahead.
I did take Miami over Charlotte tonight.
Okay.
So
said Grant, I think Denver is the problem for this, not the Thunder. I would agree with you. I think that will be the Spurs' biggest issue. But then if they do make it past Denver, their confidence knowing that they've already beat Oklahoma City 4-5, the matchups, I don't disagree with that. I think Denver is going to be the issue. All right? Said the Giants should have reset after the 100-win season, but they will be major sellers at the deadline when they are in last place. Again, it's very early. I'm not ready to say they're going to be in last place at the deadline, but that's a long way off. That's a long way off the trade deadline at the end of July.
Weren't they sellers when they were playing really well at the deadline last year or the year before?
It depends on how you define that, but yeah, okay. But here's the deal. I'm not making any rash judgments based on 15 games of a season, okay?
Yeah. I just wonder how the dynamics work differently with the Los Angeles Dodgers in the way they are right now. If you don't think your team could possibly get 4 of 7 from them, then you sell, right?
I don't think there's any team in baseball that could, especially the Giants. They couldn't win 4 out of 7 games in a must-win series against the Dodgers. There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's where it goes back to it being too early, but would you have said that probably about the Blue Jays? And they took them to 7.
No, you're right. I would not have. But the Blue Jays had a heck of a year last year, and they had really good pitching. But, yeah, I think you're spot on. I think you make a lot of sense. Yes, there's a lot of truth to that.
It's a weird league. Enjoy it while we have it this year. You might not have it next year.
Really is. Other scores, the Diamondbacks lead the Orioles 4-2. The Nats lead the Pirates 5-4. The Diamondbacks-Orioles games bottom 8. Nats over the Pirates in the bottom of the 5th. Tigers lead the Royals 2-1. That ball game is already in the top of the 9th, a fast-moving game there. Marlins lead the Braves in Atlanta, top 6-1 out, 4-3. Cubs over the Phillies in the 7th. The score there is 7-3. The Angels are shutting out the Yankees. What's going on with the Yankees getting shut out so much? They are trailing 6-0, bottom of the 6th. And the Twins have 2 men on, bottom 4. That team north of New York losing by the score of 3-0.
That team's having a really bad season.
Love it. Love it. Giants going into the 9th. And again, they are trailing by the score of 2-1. So tonight, YouTube and X, in an hour and 5 minutes from right now, I'll get done with this show, get a little bite to eat, get a little energy. Let's go. Join me. Our Open Forum Tuesday. We'll update you on what's going on in the NBA with the Heat and the Hornets. We'll follow that game. Still at intermission with the Miami Heat leading by the score of 54-52. Don't forget, coming up in the next hour, if you missed hour number 1, a replay of the first hour. Wow, I can't believe we're at the finish line already. Get my batteries recharged. Talk to you in an hour over on YouTube. My thanks today to Jerry Reynolds for joining me. And, as always, on Tuesdays, Sean Salisbury. For Rhino in Sacktown, I'm Grant Napear, saying so long and thanks for listening to Fox Sports Sacramento. Bye-bye now.
If you've been shocked by your increasing utility bills, we get it. Energy rates in California are crazy. So at Sierra Pacific, we're introducing our 10-10-20 Home Energy and Comfort Program. It's called 10-10-20, and it works like this. Our HVAC techs will come out and install a new home comfort system in your home now. You'll get 10 years to pay for the system, a 10-year warranty on that system, and 20% off the cost. That's 10-10-20. and Spud customers can get rebates up to $3,000. With summer almost here, now's the time to call or visit SierraPacificHome.com and ask about our 10-10-20 promotion. With over 1,700 five-star reviews, we've proudly installed over 20,000 home comfort systems. If it's time for an HVAC system replacement, call or visit us at SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air.